Hello, guys, and welcome to the Stardom Cast. I'm your host, Rob Gooden, and I'm joined as ever by Matt Turner. We are going to speedrun this episode because my Wi-Fi is not working. Hello, Matt. How are you?
I am great. Yes, we've been trying to record for about a half an hour for some reason.
This is the second full take we've done of the intro today, so I apologize.
Rob, he said when it gets hot out, his Wi-Fi doesn't work. So it's like
the
1999.
most archaic Stone Age Wi-Fi I've ever seen. This is the second time I've turned it off and on again as well, which is about as far as my IT skills go. So if you are seeing this, it means that the internet lasted the podcast. So touch wood. If you're not seeing this, obviously it doesn't matter because you won't have seen this. But yes, so hello, Matt. How are you?
Phenomenal, buddy. We have. Boy, how
did
we
you watch
have
Star Wars on Friday?
I did, sir. Yeah, you know what? Before we were probably about 5 minutes in, and the first thing I said, and I'm going to say it again, when we recorded our first take, is if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you know of our podcast logo is no longer outdated because I am wearing the Utami Hayashishita robe, and obviously, not unless you've been under a rock these past 4 or 5 days. The Red Queen, Utami Hayashishita, is back in Stardom, which we do have 2 great shows to talk about, but that's probably the majority of this podcast, talking about what the possibilities are for one Utami Hayashishita. But yes, again, from we did our first take where I was talking about how I went to go see the new Star Wars movie this past weekend, which was phenomenal. And you were saying who directed it? It was Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni.
What I was asking, was it Jon Favreau?
Favreau and Dave Filoni. Yeah, both of them. So yeah, phenomenal. I thought it was terrific. I know the early critics review, they didn't like it. And then within a week later, the audience score went from it was like 89 or 90. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a load of fun. I don't think you got a chance to see it yet because
I haven't yet.
There's a few parts where it's just like Matt Turner almost got the Utami Hayashishita Sayaka Kurara on top of the cage tears. There's a couple times, which we'll get into that because I did actually went back and watch that match on Tuesday. Have not watched it since the heel turn, and I got tagged in so many photos on Tuesday where it was of that, and I was like, I'm going to go back and watch it, Rob. And I did, and I loved it. And I still understand 14 people in the ring with the ref and weapons. I still have no idea how
a good match,
how they pulled that all off. But brother, I'm doing good with the exception of your internet being very spotty. How's everything on your neck of the woods? And you did tell me before we hit the record button, before the first time we hit the record button, you're watching some All Japan in the 90s. What please tell me and our listeners, what were you watching, my friend?
So yeah, it's been, as anyone that's listening from the UK knows, we've had the hottest week in May on record or something like that. It's been about 89, 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and we Brits don't have AC. So it's been quite warm. And obviously, because it's Britain, nothing works when it's hot, including my Wi-Fi. But I have been basically sat outside on a sun lounger watching All Japan in the 90s for the second installment of Building Blocks. So there's been quite a few matches on the docket, most notably and I've got to try and get this right for our American contingent, 12-6-96. Not 6-12-96. The tag league final between Akiyama, Misawa, and then the Holy Demon Army. That's just a phenomenal match. But every time I watch it, I find something new that I love about that. And then I'm just in the middle of Misawa and Kobashi as well. So yeah, exciting. It's been a brilliant way to spend the bank holiday week, the half-term week, in the lovely weather. So yeah, can't complain.
Yeah, we have a Memorial Day this past week over in the States. So
happy Memorial Day.
Yes.
Last week.
Yeah, Monday. This past Monday.
Happy Memorial Day on Monday.
Yes. This past Monday that already happened. Yes, and always I always thank everybody for their service, past, present, and future, that lets us live the freedoms that we get to live in this great country of ours, my friend. But yeah, man, a phenomenal weekend. I mean, just there's 4 great wrestling shows within 3 days. The Tokyo Joshi Pro show from Shinjuku Face was fantastic. The Marigold show, which obviously we'll talk about in the Marigold Standard later this week, despite all the injuries and everything going on, start to finish from pro wrestling wise, was a phenomenal show. Obviously, the Stardom pay-per-view Queen's Dynasty was fantastic, and AEW Double or Nothing terrific. As Conrad Thompson always says, nobody does pay-per-view like AEW, and that's the truth. When it comes to pro wrestling, I mean, they're marathon shows, they are long shows, but they are fantastic. And I tell you what, that crowd in New York, whew, they brought it, buddy. From literally segment one until the final match, they were into everything. So yeah, man, everything's great in the world of professional wrestling. Again, got to see Star Wars this past week and it was fantastic. Amber threw me a birthday party on Saturday, which I showed you the picture of the
mother of all cheesecakes. I cannot describe. So, Matt, sorry to interrupt you, Matt.
Please.
Matt sent me the picture of this incredible cheesecake that his wife made. And I put on 2 stone just looking at the picture. I can't describe the noise Kirsty made when she looked at that picture. And I know that you said, obviously, it's looking very, very likely, especially as you've already bought tickets to a show overall in weekend. So it looks like you are coming. And you said, I warn you, Amber might take over the kitchen. And I was like, I warn you, I might let her. Especially after seeing that cheesecake. Good Lord, it looked fantastic.
Yeah, she's a phenomenal cook and obviously a phenomenal person. I still have no idea what she's doing with me, but that's reaping those benefits there, my friend.
We haven't got time on this podcast.
No, there's a lot wrong with me. But yeah, she made, I didn't take a picture of it but she made like chicken parm. It was like the size of my head and it was phenomenal. Homemade sauce, the whole 9. So that, other than the fact that the weather was really rainy, so we couldn't really, hang out outside. It was my parents came over. It was nice having a beer with my dad and just shooting the breeze with him. But it was all in all a great weekend as always. You're throwing the wrestling on top of it, the great Star Wars movie with a long holiday, so a couple of days off work as well. So really terrific stuff, buddy. But how about you? How was your weekend?
Yeah, it was all right. I played cricket on Sunday, and Kirsty never comes to watch me play sport ever. However, as I said, we've had some absolutely amazing weather, and it was a lovely, proper village, little country cricket ground, church in the background, surrounded by trees, nice bar. And I was like, oh, you should come watch me. She was like, okay, I'll come watch you. And, I'll bring my mum and dad as well. I was like, oh, that'll be great. Love seeing your mum and dad. Anyway, this cricket ground is about 40 minutes away from where I live. And both me and Kirsty are what can be politely described as time positive, in that we are late to everything.
True.
Thank you. So I am a batsman, and we were batting first. So I'd said to Kirsty, get here for between 1:30 and 2. Okay, we start at 1:30. I'm sure if we're batting, I won't be batting at 1 or 2. I'll probably be 3 or 4. Anyway, captain turns around and goes, Robbie, you were at batting number 1? I was like, yes, fine.
Start with a hot opener, by the way.
Yeah, well,
you gotta start with a hot opener.
I was edging Christian versus FTR on that day. So anyway, I was like, right, do not get out before Kirsty gets here, because otherwise she's driven 40 minutes and she's going to watch you do absolutely precisely nothing. So I'm batting away. Kirsty's still not there. I'm like, come on, Kirsty. I'm batting away anyway. About 25 minutes into the innings, get a ball, get bowled. I'm out. I walk off, come out of the changing rooms, haven't taken off all my layers of kit. Everything's sticking to me because it's at 4,000 degrees. It's like the surface of the sun out there. Kirsty and her mum and dad walk up, and I was like, for God's sake. So they drove all that way to watch me do precise. I mean, cricket's not an entertaining sport anyway, but when you're doing nothing in the game, it's even more tedious. So aside from that, it was good fun, my friend. Aside from that, it was good fun.
I always love hearing your sports stories, my friend. They always, they're always very intriguing, my friend. They're always very intriguing. So. Nice shirt, by the way. I almost wore that, but however, I kind of just figured it might have been time, we got a lot of fantasy booking, my friend.
It's almost like you have specifically chosen your Queen's Quest shirt for today, and for the life of me, I can't imagine why that is relevant.
I don't know. I was listening to the band Queen, and I was on a quest to get here to talk about the podcast. That was reaching.
Mate, that's not even reaching that. Obviously, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be talking about the return of Utami Hayashishita to Stardom. She returned at Korakuen Hall on the 26th of May to quite a lot of surprise. I don't think anyone anticipated that, even those that assume that she will be coming back to Stardom. I don't think anyone assumed that it would be 3 days after she left Marigold. But we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about the latest from Bushi Road. Some interesting stuff there. Hazuki in America. We have got matches confirmed for the conversion. 3 title matches for that. We've also got the winners. We had 2 winners for our Queen's Dynasty. That's because I kept calling it Wrestle Dynasty. Queen's Dynasty pay-per-view from the 23rd. We've also got a review of that and Stardom's Korakuen Hall show as well. We've also got Stardom Tenable for Matt at the end of the show as well, with 5-star Grand Prix announcements. It's 5-star Grand Prix themed. But before we get into all of that, Matt Turner, what, pray tell, is coming up on the World of Joshi Patreon this week?
This week, alternate commentary that was dropped earlier this week, I believe on Monday. I did a deep dive, my friend. I went to the very same show that Mayu Utami defeated B. Priestley to win the World of Stardom Championship. I didn't do alternate commentary on that match. However, I think that's probably in the archives. But if you remember, Rob, that match took place in the middle of the Goddess of Stardom tournament. And I watched the match between Starlight Kid and at the time, AEW Women's Champion Riho against Momo and Azumi. Boy, howdy, what a fun match that was to call. Not only that, Rob, I was looking at the rest of the card. Semi-main event, Jamie Hayter versus Arisa Hoshiki for the Wonder of Stardom Championship.
Not bad.
That might be the one when myself and Andy Header met Jamie Hayter, where she said that she got a concussion from the one. That might have been it.
Yeah.
I think
was it that one, or was it the Utami match?
The Utami match.
Remember, anyway.
The Utami match was at year-end climax.
That's right.
Yeah, but anyway, so the alternate commentary again that is on your Patreon feed from earlier this week. Starlight Kid and AEW's Rio versus Momo Oz. Obviously, then over the weekend, myself and Andy Header, we released our What If. Finally, it only took us 3 times to get it done. What if the Jumping Bomb Angels were the prime Jumping Bomb Angels were in current day Joshi and they were freelancers? How would we book them? That is on your feed. And then coming up at the end of this week, probably this weekend, it'll be a retro review. Going back and watching some of these fantastic shows from Tokyo Joshi Pro. Retro review of Grand Princess 2024 from Ryogoko Kakakigan in Sumo Hall. In my opinion, the best Tokyo Joshi Pro show in company history. We got a lot of great matches. Main event is Miyu Watanabe versus Miyu Yamashita. We also have a little match with Maki Ito, which we'll be talking about Maki Ito quite a bit on this show, against Minoru Suzuki. Yes, it is as fun as you think it is. Just some really, really great, a phenomenal show start to finish. So my retro review will be on the feed this weekend. And again, there is so much great content, past, present, and future, that is on your feed. Again, there's alternate commentaries, roundtable discussions, what if fantasy bookings, matches with Matt, tag team breakdown, rivalry reviews, so much great stuff, past, present, and future, right here on the World of Joshi Podcasting Network, you fantastic members of our World of Joshi Patreon exclusive channel.
I just want to give a big shout out to the latest patron, Christopher Kane, who has joined our white belt tier. Thank you so much, Christopher. And thank you to all of our great patrons who subscribe and make this possible. Patreon.com/World of Joshi for all of that good content. Matt, I mean, we might as well start straight away with it, hadn't we? We might as well dive headlong into the big news story out of the World of Stardom this week, and that is that Marigold's Utami Hayashishita, 3 days after her departure from Marigold, no 90-day non-competes in Marigold, apparently.
The Garster's bringing the funny today.
Honestly, mate. She turned up to confront Sayaka Kurara in Korakuen Hall on the 26th of May. Although it's not confirmed that she is back on Stardom full time. Obviously, the word freelancer is being bandied about still. Utami did, after Sayaka Kurara basically pie-faced her, just left. Utami did say, I want to wrestle in Stardom to the crowd. And Taro Okada has said after this in an interview that even though Utami is not signed with Stardom at the moment, I believe his exact wording was
winking in the camera.
She's not wrestling anywhere else. So make of that what you will. I mean, you know, Hazuki is technically a freelancer. Koguma is technically a freelancer. They are still on most shows for Stardom, although we'll be talking about Hazuki very shortly. So it is possible to still be a freelancer, but still wrestle primarily for one promotion. Even people like Rini Yamashita and Itsuki Aoki, who of course aren't on all Stardom shows, are still on quite a few. You know, the same. Yeah, the Inaba sisters, the same with Nagisa Nozaki in Marigold. You know, again, there are people who are freelancers that just wrestle primarily in one promotion and then do shots for others. I do wonder if that is what Utami is going to do. However, I must tip my hat to you, Mr. Turner. When we talked about this, when Utami first spoke about leaving, and this was obviously during our All-Star Grand Queendom live review, I was a little bit hesitant to think that she would go straight back to Stardom. Obviously, she left Stardom for a reason. And a lot of those reasons, for what I could see, were still there. Obviously, that's not the case, or she wouldn't have gone back. So I hold my hands up. I was wrong about that. I want Utami to be happy wherever she wrestles. That is, as we've said on this podcast multiple times, that is number one. The wrestlers need to be happy. And Utami wants to come back, wants to wrestle in Stardom. I am more than happy about that. The fact that we still get to see Utami on our screens on a weekly basis makes me very, very happy, especially if she does wrestle primarily in Stardom. More importantly than that, though, Matt Turner, is the person she confronted, Sayaka Kurara. It's the big story. Sayaka Kurara did incorporate it rather loosely into why she turned heel. Let's not forget the red gear. Why Sayaka Kurara had the red gear. Let's not forget that. Mm-hmm. Of course, in a nutshell, for those who aren't aware, Utami obviously announced that she was leaving at the end of March 2024 to join Rossi and to form Marigold, along with Julia, Victoria Yuzuki, Mai Sakurai, Mirai. Am I missing anyone?
Takahashi, even though she was
Nane
only
Takahashi, now Ishikawa, and then obviously the actress girls. But obviously this deeply affected Sayaka Kurara. Sayaka Kurara had basically used that as a basis for her eventual heel turn. But before that, she started wearing red rather than her traditional green as a sort of salute to Utami, before she then blamed Utami for the heel turn that made Stardom lots and lots and lots of money. 2 years since she has been in a Stardom ring. Her last Stardom match was a tag match alongside Sayaka Kurara in Korakuen Hall on April 12th, 2024. Her last singles match, 5-minute time limit draw against Sayaka Kurara in Korakuen Hall. So quite poetic that her return 2 years later is in Korakuen Hall with Sayaka Kurara. There is so much they can do with this. They have the ability now to work on Sayaka Kurara post-championship, because I think that was mine and it was your, not a concern necessarily, but something we were wondering. What are you going to do with Sayaka Kurara now she's not champion anymore to keep her in relevancy till the 5-star Grand Prix, which me and you both thought she'd win and go on to become champion again? Because I think we all think that's probably going to happen.
It should.
Yeah, it still should happen. Absolutely, yeah.
If you want to continue to make money, okay.
But are we just going to put her in multi-woman tags, have her in, admittedly really good undercard tags? That match from Queen's Dynasty against Fuchan and Soriano was a really good match. Are you just going to put her in singles matches? What are we going to do with Sayaka Kurara? That problem has evaporated now, because now we can work on character. Now we can work on story. Now we have someone who can legitimately, arguably the first person, despite Sayaka Kurara claiming it's her, despite obviously Tam having all the history with Sayaka Kurara as well, Utami is the real first person, for me at least, who can talk some sense into Saya Kamatani, can start to win Saya Kamatani round. And if that's not the case, then we have one of the heated feuds of the year starting right here. And again, might just be a case of Utami turning up for 3 shows and that's it. We don't know yet.
Probably not, considering that she's booked on this weekend shows. This is going to be a long-term thing. This has the potential, Rob. Maybe I'm just saying this because I'm just a massive fan of obviously Stardom and obviously Saya and Utami. The way that I'm seeing this is the start of what could be the greatest long-term story in Stardom's 15-year history. Obviously, we had the Io and Mayu stuff was great. The Saya and Tam stuff was great. Shuri and Utami was basically not much of a, it was a story. It's basically, hey, let's beat each other up just to see who's better, which I'm all fine for. But there's so many different layers to this. She went away for 2 years. Utami comes back and was like, Saya, I've been watching you. And Saya's like, well, what have you been doing for 2 years? It's like, ooh. And the great thing about this is and I've been thinking about this a lot. I've been thinking about this is consuming in the best way possible.
You've been thinking about this since Tuesday, haven't you?
I really have. Even when me and you on air, we were talking, you're like, I don't think she's going to go back to Star. I'm like, here's all the reasons why. Now you see it in front of you. And I think anybody that had any doubt was like, this is genius because of what they did here. And I'm just going to real quick talk about the numbers because we always say, pardon me, but the numbers don't lie. If you look just on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, these clips, they divided these up into 4 clips. Utami's entrance, the in-ring promo between the two of them, Utami's backstage promo with Akira, and then Saya Kamatani's reaction. Utami's entrance, just the entrance alone, had over 250,000 views, Rob, on Twitter in the first hour. 250,000 views. There was 1,000 people in attendance here. They had 250,000 views. The promo was around the same. Utami's, I think her backstage thing was around 100,000 views. Less than 24 hours, the Saya Kamatani reaction, 1.2 million views. Rob, that's like AEW, WWE numbers. 1.2 million views for Saya's reaction. So that goes to show you how much everybody's invested into Saya Kamatani for the reaction. Here's something else, Rob. You know this as well as a lot of our newer listeners and watchers. There are people that have been watching Stardom for the last year and a half because of Saya Kamatani that really don't know the backstory too much with Utami. But obviously we do. You've been watching this promotion since like right around Saya's debut. I've been watching it since Utami's debut. I've been watching since Utami's been champion back in 2021. So it's like you have this lot of backstory, and there's so many newer watchers now than there was 2 years ago. So they're going to be getting so much great stuff. There's so much they can do. There's so many different ways they can go about it. It's not like they have to do it this way. This is the only way. There's 10 different ways they can go about it. Like I mean, I don't know what Kamatani's match is going to be at the conversion. Do they do a tag match with her and Utami? I don't know. There's so many different layers to this. Saya is the heel. That's cool and is over. Utami is really, really cool and has been over pretty much since her debut. Saya can, on the promos, again, this is one of 10 different ways they can play this. She can play the victim here. Be like, I would have never been like this if it wasn't for you. You left. And you left me with the kids, meaning Azumi, Miyu Amasaki, Lady C, Hina. Like they can throw
Lady C.
You literally, by the way, Lady C, even her stuff. We're gonna talk about her. She had like 100,000 views as well. Like now we can intertwine the other members of Queen's Quest, like Momo Watanabe. There's obviously something big there. Azumi, of course, but like let's not forget about Hina, Miyu Amasaki, and Lady C. Which, by the way, now the 3 of them are champions in this company. Just as Utami comes back, did you notice Utami comes back and then the next match, Lady C wins her first title? Did Utami touch Lady C's boots on the way out? I don't know. It's a possibility. We'll talk about it. But Saya can play the victim here. Like, I'm this way because of you. The whole thing with Saya saying, where have you been for 2 years? Utami can be like, look, you know where I was for 2 years. The person that gave you your first break in professional wrestling, I was helping him start his company. So you can make this about that. You can make this about Saya playing victim. You can make it this about, where's my beloved Queen's Quest? like that's gone because of you. And then again, Saya could be like, that way I would have never lost it if you didn't leave me when I needed you the most. I helped you out, and that whole cage match thing and the leading up to it. There's so many different layers they can do with this. Where does Azumi lie? Obviously, she's in a whole nother faction now. Like there, it's so interesting because they can play this out for a year and a half, 2 years. We're literally on ground one of what could be the best story in Joshi in the last, I don't know, 10, 15 years. Like, and the fact that Saya doesn't have the belt, so you're not tying up the belt with this, which I think is at least not for now. Eventually, they're going to have more than one match. I know a lot of people are like, they're going to have that one match. No, 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 no. This is going to be many matches, tag, singles. There's so much you can do. Obviously, we know that Utami, we'll talk about it a little bit. She's going to team up on Sunday with Matoy against Wingori. Like, hello, like, welcome back to the company, Utami. The thing for me is you go back and watch when Utami comes out. Saya, and obviously Saya knows what's going to happen. She has her back towards the entranceway. And you can see she kind of breaks character a little bit. She kind of gets a little emotional. Then once they get into the mic work, the two of them, then she gets back into the character. But the fact that Utami comes back 3 days after she left Marigold, this was clearly what she wanted to do. You know, we heard rumors, and I think it's been speculated and reported that it's the beginning of the year when she was like, yeah, I want to leave. I think this is what she wanted to do. I think this was the plan all along. They're going to get a lot of mileage off this Saya Kamatani thing. I had a lot of people over the last few days going back and forth. What if they do this? What if they do that? And the first thing that somebody said that I immediately shook my head at, I was like, if they do that, I'll be so mad. They're like, what if? Everybody is like, again, to quote Star Wars, Saya Kamatani is Luke Skywalker. Or excuse me, Utami Hayashisa is Luke Skywalker. Kamatani's Darth Vader. There's so many people that are trying to pull the good out of Kamatani. That came close. Sayaka Kurara Tam never did it. But it's Utami that, what if it's Utami is the one to do that? Then some people were saying, if you read some of these kind of what if Star Wars books, Vader turns Luke heel at the end of Return of the Jedi. What if Kamatani? What if Utami trying to get the evil out of Kamatani? What if in turn it's Saya that turns Utami heel? And I'm like, that's what we need, more members in hate. I'm like, at first I was like, that would make no sense. Then I thought about it because this is going to be a long-term story. This isn't going to be like, yeah, Saya's going to win the 5-star. Tommy's going to win the red belt. They're going to have a match at Sumo Hall. At the end of the year, Saya's going to win the belt, and that's it. I highly doubt that's it. I'm not really good at predictions. I highly doubt that. This is going to be a long-term story. What if Saya does turn heel, but it's only to infiltrate to get Momo and Saya Kamatani back into Queen's Quest, the version of Queen's Quest or whatever? That's a road they can go down. There's so much they can do. Now, Rob, I did say before we hit the record button, there is a couple things I want to talk about. One thing that's going to pop you. First thing I want to talk about is I cannot wait till Utami is either across the ring or in the same corner as some of the members of Neo Genesis. And she turns around to Azumi and points to Starlight Kid and be like, I thought you hated her. Like, I helped support you because obviously, you know, Utami's the closest. Once Momo left Queen's Quest, it was Saya, Utami, Saya, and Azumi. Obviously, the team was always Saya and Utami, Aphrodite. If they weren't such great singles wrestlers, they would be one of the best tag teams in Joshi in the last 20, 25 years. And their matches are still great. Just there was more money in Utami as red belt champion and Saya as white belt champion. Sure. So, but when you would see Utami and Azumi team up time to time, it was magic. It was magic. And of course, Rob, to the shock of nobody, I've gone back and watched a lot of Queen's Quest footage, like clip footage on YouTube and stuff. There's this one clip that I just can't get out of my mind since Tuesday, where I think they're in Korakuen Hall. Because remember when they used to do the backstage stuff in Korakuen Hall, like when Mayu was champion, and you see her going up the steps. Utami's got a robe on. She's getting ready to go out. And Azumi must have wrestled earlier on in the day, and she's in her street clothes, and she just comes running up to Utami, and Utami has her arms out and gives her the biggest hug. So we know Utami and Azumi are very close. So anywho, I can't wait for Utami to be, and I think this could happen. It should happen because Utami is very like low-key funny. She's like, "That you hated her. Like I supported this. You know, I'm your friend. What are you doing teaming with her?" Now the one thing, Rob, I don't think it's going to happen, but it should. Is I want to see Utami in a match across the ring from Hanan and Micah. You know where I'm going to go with this.
I do.
And it's going to be like, the two of you have gotten great, especially you, Hanan. What happened to your theme music? The heck? The heck?
I mean, they've changed Utami's, in fairness. Crusade isn't the original one, is it? They've changed it.
No, Riot of Flowers was the first one. The Crusade is their latest one.
I mean, I don't mind Crusade, to be fair, but I didn't watch Korakuen live. I only knew she'd come back because you sent me a message basically saying, oh my God, I'm crying. And I was like, oh, I wonder what theme
I'll tell you the full story. Go ahead, you finish. You're gonna
but yeah, she comes out to Crusade, which I don't hate. In terms of all of the rebrands that Stardom have done, dislike Hannon's new one. Like, legit, I really don't like it. I don't know why you'd change Perfection. I don't like Micah's new one. I think Micah's new one's quite bland. Why would you change the greatest theme in Stardom history? I don't know. Utami's isn't too bad. I love
it.
Utami's.
I love it. Because that's when I was watching Stardom. It's right around the time she changed it from Riot of Flowers to Crusade. But I'll tell you the story. So I'm on my way to work on Tuesday, and as usual, I'm sitting in standstill traffic because in order for me to get to my route, it's always a parking lot. And I don't advocate anybody on their phones where they're driving. Just, you do not do that. Matt, your Uncle MT did a no-no here. He did a no-no here. And all of a sudden, I just see my phone just boom, 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 boom. My immediate reaction is something went wrong. My dad, husband. So I look at it, and it's my Twitter. And I'm like, well, I know my wife's not on that. But I'm like, this is a lot. As soon as I open it up, there it was. So I'm sitting in traffic. I literally sent at the same time, you, my wife, and Andy Header the same thing. Like, oh my God, like I'm in tears. Look at this. Now I know Amber, my wife, would be like, you just left for work. What are you doing watching wrestling? So it's like, I'm in standstill traffic. This is what happened. She said, you know, you're not supposed to do this. Wait till you either pull over or wait till you get to your destination. And I was like, this is more important than me sitting in traffic right now, hon. Utami Hayashishita is back in
We can debate the rules of the road later, Amber.
Yes, Utami Hayashishita is back inside. Now, here's something myself and Andy Header talked about this for a good 20, 30 minutes on Talk Joshi. I'm sure on the Marigold Standard, we'll obviously be talking a lot about Utami because she had her final match there in a phenomenal 6-person match. I forgot to talk about this with Andy Header, and he would know better than anybody. This look that we see Utami Hayashishita look great, but should she have come back with the long hair? Or this is kind of in the middle. It's not like the short hair because it's kind of touching her shoulder. She didn't have like the Champions edition long hair. Or is that something, Rob, where it's like you can't give everything away in one shot? Like, we didn't know Tommy was. We kind of had an idea Tommy was coming back. We didn't think it'd be this soon. Would you prefer with the long hair? Or was this like, you can't give away too much? You can't have all that at once. Like, you can't have Utami come back 3 days after leaving Marigold, confronting Sayaka Kamatani in Korakuen Hall, which, by the way, that Korakuen Hall place was going ballistic when she came out, and then have the long hair. So I want to throw that at you, Rob. Do you think she should have had the long hair, or we have to build towards that?
Oh, you build towards it. You need something for that first match, don't you? The robe, the mask, the flower. You know, you need something. I wonder, and I know that there are, and again, I don't profess to be an expert by any stretch of the imagination. I know that there are some rumblings on Twitter from a Japanese audience, basically disgruntled at the fact that Utami has come back. I believe the phrase was tail between her legs. You know, she went off, she tried something, she came back. And again, like, you know, I don't know. I can't speak for everyone, and everyone obviously is entitled to their opinion. I don't have an issue with Utami coming back. You know, I think it was more because Stardom have done gangbuster numbers, and now she's come back. So I can see that point of view. I can see why people have sort of thought of that, and I wonder if that's why she's come like that. Could be a little bit of a humble sort of, you know, I want to wrestle in Stardom again. I went away. I did my thing in another company. I'm back now. She is, of course, the first person to rejoin Stardom from Marigold, which means that Mai Sakurai and Victoria Hazuki are the only original Stardom departees that are still with Marigold at this point. But look, what this offers Stardom is an organic resolution to the Saya Kamatani story, which obviously, we've talked about the ifs, ands, and buts of whether Saya Kamatani should ever turn face again, if she, if there's money in a face turn, if it makes sense to turn her baby face, when they should turn a baby face, and most importantly, how, if they decide that that's the route they should go, how they do it. Who is the person that is going to reach the core of Saya Kamatani? They now have that with Utami. Obviously, from the way that everything has been framed, it looks like Utami is going to be here for the long run. I do imagine we'll get Utami in other promotions as well. But I imagine,
Girls.
yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if we see her do, something like Hazuki's doing, like Kogama's doing, stuff like that. Wouldn't surprise me if we maybe see Utami on an AEW programming it, from time to time, stuff like that. But obviously, it does now say, well, what's in the future for Utami? Where does she fit in terms of this Stardom roster? And I think another thing that indicates that she's going to be here for a longer time is her matches over the coming week, again in Kobe and KBS Hall, where she's wrestling. No disrespect whatsoever, but she is starting near the bottom of the roster. She's starting with Akira. I apologize, Akira fans. Akira is great. I love Akira, but she's no Saya Kamatani. She's no Starlight Kid. She's not at the top of the food chain. So, sort of starting there and wrestling her way back up. She's teaming with Matoi. Again, absolutely love Matoi. But she's no Saya Kamatani. She's starting at the bottom, working her way up, and I think that's really good. It does also open the door for a 5-star Grand Prix for Utami as well. Now, if she is serious about wanting to wrestle in Stardom, wanting to come back to Stardom, on something even close to a full-time schedule, I can't see a world where Utami, obviously, sort of injuries aside,
Stop.
I know. Recording this when Seri Amoka's just gone out with a dislocated shoulder as well. We wish her nothing but the best. Good Lord. But I can't see a world where she isn't in that 5-star Grand Prix. I don't see a way. If Saya Kamatani is not to win the 5-star Grand Prix, and again, I think that's a big if, because I do think Saya Kamatani wins. If they don't have her win, it would not surprise me if it's because of Utami. If they have their first match as the block final, for example, or in the playoffs at Korakuen, or even as a semi-final match on the pay-per-view, I feel like if you're going to do their first singles match, it has to be on pay-per-view. It might even be the 5-star final. I don't see Utami coming back and immediately winning the 5-star. But stranger things have happened. This offers Stardom a lot of leeway in terms of story writing, and this offers such an interesting wrinkle in Saya Kamatani's character that I didn't think we were ever going to get in the resolution with Utami. Utami, the way Saya Kamatani framed it, Utami is the root of why Saya did what she did back in Sapporo in 2024.
I apologize, by the way, folks, for long-time listeners.
And rightly so, as you should. But Stardom did that storyline with obviously a very different conclusion in mind. They now have Utami back, which means that they can build to something organic. And I think you're right. I don't think they spaff one singles match up the wall and then, that's it. This is going to be a long-running thing. I think, if, Taro Okada's booked very, very well, considering the man has never booked a wrestling promotion before. I think you need to take your hat off to him. Has it been perfect? No, there have been mistakes along the way, but he's done a sensational job when you consider his lack of experience prior to this company and you look at the money they're drawing in. I think this is something that you could do over 18 months, 2 years, this story arc with Saya, because again, there's now 2 big sort of concluding parts to that Saya story, and it's Utami and Maika. But I feel like, they sort of had Maika because they hadn't got Utami. So, again, Saya costing Maika the red belt. Maika's going to want revenge on that. Saya was seconding Maika at that point. You've got two ways you can go with that. You've got two possible resolutions you can go. And that's a nice problem to have if you're Stardom. And again, just on a wrestler basis, taking out all of the storyline, taking out all of the different things you can do with Utami. Just look at the singles matches we could now have, because there's a lot of these wrestlers who Utami has not wrestled in 2 years. And by the way, let's not discredit what she did in Marigold. It's not like she was out in the wilderness. She was Marigold's world champion. She won the first Dreamstar Grand Prix, put on excellent matches with a whole host of people on that roster, elevated a whole lot of people on that roster, and is still an absolutely phenomenal wrestler and is still only in her mid-20s. But again, Starlight Kid is a completely different wrestler to who she was in April 2024. Azumi, obviously, now they are not in the same faction, Utami and Azumi, although Utami and Neo Genesis would be quite cool. Again, you look at the members of Utami and Konami is something I'd really look forward to. When Momo Watanabe eventually comes back, Utami and Momo Watanabe, you've got, again, Utami and Hazuki, man. I mean, honestly, that's one of the biggest missteps for me. Why the hell was Hazuki not in the 5-star Grand Prix last year? Hazuki has to be in the 5-star Grand Prix this year. She simply has to be. Utami versus Natsupoi, all of these different wrestlers.
You're missing the one big one, other than obviously the Kamatani. What's the match that put Stardom on the map in 2021 that everybody picked up?
Of course. So, yeah, absolutely. Utami versus Ann Kanai. There are so many matches that you can go to, And of course, I haven't mentioned, how could I be so silly, the match that ESPN talked about, Utami versus Fukigen Death. No, obviously, Utami versus Shuri as well. Obviously, we do need to talk about the future of the IWGP Women's Championship, because that's a little bit of a hot topic at the moment, and it's literally next on our agenda to talk about. But there are so many different things aside from Utami being intrinsically linked to Saya Kamatani that they can do with her.
Yeah,
that I am very, very, very excited about. Obviously, this is a huge miss for Marigold. Obviously, Marigold at the moment are struggling significantly with injuries. The worst luck in the world. Again, heart goes out to Seri Amoka, who tried to pop the shoulder back in herself and tried to continue with the match. And proper shout out to Maddie Morgan as well, who literally did not leave her side. Like, credit to Maddie Morgan. That was awesome. But yeah, this has all happened at a really bad time for Marigold. And again, there's just no accounting for stuff like this. It's pro wrestling. But putting a bow on this, because it's nearly 45 minutes into the episode, and this is still the first bit of news we've talked about.
We know this is going to be long. This is going to be an ongoing topic for a while.
And we're probably going to talk about this on the Marigold Standard tomorrow as well. So
yeah. I'm excited. I don't know if you can tell. I literally, after I watched the clip, I literally had tears in my eyes. This pro wrestling, I tell you what, it gets me. I'm an emotional guy, my man. I'm an emotional guy. Again, we're going to be talking about this on the Marigold Standard, Talk Joshi, Stardom Cast for months and months and months to come. I am absolutely thrilled that Saya Kamatani is back. We have oh my goodness, Utami High, it's just as back. We have the whole Saya Kamatani, and there's so much they can do. I am beyond thrilled for what the future holds. And again, we don't have to wait. It was like, she's back. When's her first match going to be? I'm thinking it's going to be at the Conversion, or as you call it, the Conversion. But it was like 20 minutes after the show, they're like, no, she's wrestling Akira, and then team with Matoy against Wingori. Real quick, buddy, before we go to the next segment, you mentioned how, no disrespect to the Akira fans, are almost getting like the Rion fans.
Yeah,
they're getting there. I had a lot of people tag me like, man, I know you're excited Utami's back, but what a dumbass Okada is to book her against Akira. They're bringing Utami back, and she's gonna get steamrolled in 4 minutes to Akira. Like,
imagine if Utami just gets jobbed out to the entire roster, and then Saya Kamatani's like, bro. Though I must admit, the idea of you doing the whole Star Wars Return of the Jedi thing, it gave me proper visual then of Saya Kamatani lifting Natsuko Tora up and throwing her down an elevator shaft as she's going, the power.
That's right, because Tora would be the Emperor. There you go.
Unless It's Momo Watanabe. Is Momo Watanabe Emperor Palpatine?
Then who would be Padme? Would it be Io or Momo? Since Io was the birth of Queen's Quest, right?
Who is it that doesn't like sand? It gets everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It's such stupid writing. I hate that film. That's Attack of the Clones, isn't it?
Yeah. No, that was, I thought it was Spaceballs. You were referencing when they were combing the desert. Man, we ain't found bleep. We went all over the place. We literally started with Utami versus Saya, and I'm getting all emotional to me quoting Spaceballs.
Absolutely. It will be a topic that we return to. We are going to talk about the 5-star Grand Prix shortly as well. It would not surprise me one jot if Utami is in the 5-star Grand Prix, and it would not surprise me if the first real encounter that we have between her and Saya is on or during that tournament. Wouldn't surprise me if maybe Saya Kamatani beats Utami in the final. Again, you've got to do their first singles match on pay-per-view because that will do numbers. Because again, you heard the reaction in Korakuen Hall. The reaction in Korakuen Hall was like, oh my God, Utami's bad. They heard that music. Very, very good reaction. I know that, again, from some people on social media, it was sort of a bit hesitant, let's say, with, she's just coming back because Stardom are doing well. And again, I can see that point of view. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I can certainly see that point of view. The money match is her versus Saya. Now, we've obviously got Ryogoku potentially coming up on the 29th of December, as we have had the last 4 years. Or do you hold off? Do you potentially, if Stardom want to do the Tokyo Dome, could it potentially be Saya and Utami in the main event of the Tokyo Dome?
You can do it very much like All Japan with Misawa versus Kawada. They would run Misawa versus Kawada at the right times to sell out Nippon Budokan. And then eventually when they got to the climax of that part of the story, they ran the Tokyo Dome. And All Japan never really ran the Tokyo Dome that much, or really, I think only a few times. So you can literally copy and paste what they did there, where it's just like you can run it a time or two. Maybe they run it at Sumo Hall at the end of the year, and then the end part of that part of the story. Again, this could be a 5-6 part story. They do at the Tokyo Dome. Because again, there's been rumblings. Obviously, Rob, we've known for quite some time that they want to run the Tokyo Dome. Stardom wants to run the Tokyo Dome, where there's smoke, there's fire. They've been talking about a lot over the last 5 or 6 months that they want to run the Tokyo Dome.
He's mentioned it in promos, hasn't she? So.
Yeah, I mean it's constant. So we're like, what's the big match you do? We figured it's going to be Sai Kamatani. Maybe it's Sai Kamatani and Suri, because it's kind of a dream match, but it doesn't have the story and the potential of Saya and Utami. Dream matches sell tickets. They do really well. But when you have the story behind it, people are emotionally invested in it. There's so much you can do. I think Saya and Utami is the way to go. Again, we could be looking at one of the best stories in the 15-year history of Stardom. And this is literally ground one. This is literally great. This is like the Bloodline storyline with just better wrestlers, Rob. With just better wrestlers. They don't have Paul Heyman. They just don't have Paul Heyman. So that's the way that I see it.
We need to find the Stardom Paul Heyman.
Saki Kashima.
Yeah. Saki Kashima will be amazing in that role. Anyway, let's move. I love the fact, by the way, that Maki Ito referenced Sayaka Kurara's sort of betrayal of Saki when Saki had to have that singles match with Bozilla in her promos for this Queen's Dynasty match. I thought that was brilliant. I thought it was really funny. Anyway, let's move on. Some interesting news coming out of Bushi Road. Announcing that they had sold all of their shares in New Japan to Cyber Agent and to TV Asahi. Now, obviously, I don't know the ins and outs of this deal. There are new bits of information coming out all the time. One thing it does do, and that's why we're talking about it, we're not a New Japan podcast, obviously, but the one thing it does do is it raises questions about the Stardom and New Japan partnership. Because again, they were a partnership under the Bushiroad umbrella. And in fact, at one point, New Japan actually bought Stardom with their sister promotion. They then sold them back to Bushiroad, and then Bushiroad have sold New Japan. Now, obviously, at the moment, I believe Stardom is still drawing in a lot of money for Bushiroad, which potentially explains why they haven't sold Stardom. It might also lead to Bushiroad shopping around for a better price. Maybe for Stardom, maybe they feel like they can get more money for Stardom if they are looking to sell. Nothing's come out that they are looking to sell. Maybe they just didn't have enough to do both New Japan and Stardom, and Cyber Agent at TV Asahi just offered them a better deal for New Japan. I don't know. I don't know the fundamentals of the deal. The reason that I've brought this up, though, is because A, how does this affect the New Japan and Stardom relationship? And B, how does this affect the IWGP Women's Championship, which is obviously a shared title? Now, the first bit, both bits have been addressed separately by both New Japan and by Taro Okada. Taro Okada has basically gone down the line of nothing really changes. And New Japan have sort of towed a similar line. Obviously, Cyber Agent are the owners of DDT, Noah as well, and Wrestle Universe.
TJPW, yeah.
TJPW, all of these different promotions that are currently on Wrestle Universe. Now, does that mean that we're going to have no sort of overlap between this Cyber Agent promotion and this Bushiroad promotion? Now, obviously, Bushiroad are open to doing business with Cyber Agent. It's not like they are staunchly against each other that I know of. It's certainly not how it appears anyway. They are open to doing business together. So I'm under the impression, at least for now, that the relationship is going to remain the same. I can't see there being another historic crossover. But in terms of the IWGP Women's Championship, at least until it's out of Stardom, I don't think much changes. I think, and this is purely on me, this is nothing else I've heard, I think that the chances are the relationship will gently fizzle out over the coming months and years, and then Stardom, the IWGP Women's Championship, will find its way out of Stardom and into another company. That's what I think. But what say you?
I'm a little confused on kind of everything going. I actually reached out to, I'm not going to say it was a friend of ours that works over in Japan to kind of break things down a little bit, and they, it's almost kind of like, this is what I think. So I did actually listen to the Observer earlier today, and they did say that Bushiroad is staying with Stardom, and that Stardom is still going to be doing business with New Japan. It's not like they work all the time. It's just basically the IWGP belt has
aside from the IWGP Women's Championship, they don't do much anyway.
But exactly. It's only been defended in New Japan a handful of times, so it's going to be staying on the Stardom show with Shuri as champion and doing great business with that belt. I think you'll see it stayed there for a little bit, but it seems like that Stardom is the only wrestling company that Bushiroad now owns. So me putting the positive spin on it for me, Rob, is maybe they put all their stuff in the Stardom basket. Stardom has been a more profitable company for New Japan the last few years, basically because of the rise of Stardom and just New Japan losing a lot of their roster over the last few years to AEW. Okada, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, I mean, so on and so forth. And then plus Tanahashi.
More recently, obviously, you've got David Finlay's gone, the Bullet Club War Dogs, they've all gone to AEW as well. It seems to be when, especially at the moment, there seems to be a case of whenever there is a star that's up and coming, they go to AEW. Ospreay is another huge one that, New Japan have really struggled to recover from.
Yeah. I mean, so it just seems like that Bushiroad wants to focus on, at least for now, at least put the focus on Stardom. Does this mean New Japan finds its way into Wrestle Universe? Does eventually Stardom find their way into Wrestle Universe? I don't know. I still think that Stardom world, the New Japan world, should copy and paste what Wrestle Universe does, because they are the Netflix of streaming service, because it's just so easy to find stuff and so easy to use. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how this is going to shake out. I guess just time will tell. So we'll see what happens, my friend. I'm not going to worry about it. There's nothing that anything can do about it. I hope everybody finds things well. And the one thing that I'm looking at, Rob, if again the IWGP brand is going to be owned, and it looks like it is owned by Cyberfight, maybe then we get IWGP champion Shuri versus Miyu Yamashita. That's the way that I'm seeing it. We can only hope. Maybe we see Shuri wrestling the top tier wrestlers over at Tokyo Joshi Pro. I know Andy Zyke, Tokyo Joshi Pod is listening. No, Andy, I do not want to see Shuri versus Pam Harajuku. Sorry, it's not what I want to see my Shuri doing.
Nobody wants that. Nobody wants
he
that.
does. I know he does.
No, even Andy does not want to see that match. And if he does, shame on you, Andy.
We're going to have a discussion with you, Andy. Next time we see you. But yeah,
kill me in.
Yeah, we'll see how this all shakes out, my friend. Again, it just wow, what a big news-worthy week, my friend. And then, of course, earlier today we had some stuff drop about Collision, which I'm sure we'll get into in a few moments. But obviously, we wish everybody well. It does seem like nowadays, more than it was 30 years ago, these companies are opening to working with each other. Like you would never see a WCW working with WWF. Like that's stuff that you would never see the NWA working with other promotions back in the 70s and 80s. And you really never see that, where it's just like, if New Japan, they do go on, find their way to Wrestle Universe, are they still going to be working with AEW? That I don't know. I know something came out earlier today that the AEW content, as of I think next week, will no longer be on New Japan World. So you don't know how that's going to shake out. Again, we'll see what happens. But again, maybe we get Shuri versus Miyu Yamashita, my friend. That's my silver lining in all this. And again, I there's a lot of big words that I just don't understand. I'm like, all right, just let me know when I need to watch wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting. It did feel like it came a little bit out of nowhere, but obviously we wish nothing but the best for all promotions involved. It's an interesting time to be a fan of these promotions. I'm intrigued, actually. I might listen to the Super J cast and see what their breakdown is of the Bushiroad sale. And obviously, it does raise another question. And again, more intelligent people than me will have a better sort of thought process on this. Is this becoming a little bit of a monopoly in terms of wrestling? Cyberfight now own a ridiculous amount of wrestling companies, or have a hand in a ridiculous amount of wrestling companies. Obviously, I don't know how that works. I don't know if that is good for wrestling in Japan or if that is bad for wrestling. I don't know. And obviously, I'm not qualified to talk about that, so I won't. Let's move on to something I am qualified to talk about, and that is the conversion happening on the 20th of June in Yoyogi. We now have 3 matches set up for that show, 3 title matches set up for that show. So warning, there are spoilers coming up for Queen's Dynasty, although, this episode is called Queen's Dynasty Review. So if you haven't watched the show, obviously, please watch the show if you don't want spoilers. But we now have our World of Stardom Championship match for the show, our Wonder of Stardom Championship match for the show, and indeed an IWGP Women's Championship match as well, which I'm very, very intrigued. But we'll start with the red belt, obviously. Suzu Suzuki, I think the person who we both said definitely wasn't winning it. Definitely not winning it. Definitely not winning the number 1 contendership 4-way. Suzu Suzuki, sure enough, pinned the person we both had winning in Micah. Oh, no, did you have Tora?
I had Tora, but I was like right there with Micah. And then obviously we'll get into a review of the show with Kid, but I was like, all right. However, Rob, we did, I know you're going to do it. I still did pretty good on predictions, but that one I was like, it'll be anybody but Suzu. And I was like, yeah, that's when you should have put all your money on
literally
Suzu.
had a tier list of who we thought it was going to be, and I believe Suzu was at the bottom for no other reason.
I think we had TLD, double count out, and then Suzu.
Yeah. Fukick and Death, then Suzu. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Suzu. Suzu is fantastic, and the fact that she is getting another shot at the red belt is a place where she belongs. So obviously she is going to be challenging Sayaka Kurara at the conversion. Now, my big thing about this match, because even though Sayaka Kurara and Maki Ito surpassed all expectations I had for that match. And I think Kurara as champion surpassed my expectations in that match as well, even though the crowd in Aichi, despite it being Kurara's hometown, very, very into Maki Ito. Very, very supportive of the challenger. I do want to remind you of a statistic, just so I get the Queen's Dynasty show notes up. Sayaka Kurara has won 17 singles matches in her career. Okay, I just want to remind everyone of that. For there is a reason, anyway. I'm not just dumping on Sayaka Kurara, bless her. Lost 24 singles matches in her career. A lot of those singles wins have come recently. Does Suzu Suzuki's credibility take a hit if she loses to Sayaka Kurara? Now, obviously, Maki Ito, there was a story there. She believed that Cosmic Angels were evil. She believed that Sayaka Kurara was evil. Made a couple of very good points about Sayaka Kurara being evil. Not the wrestler evil, obviously. The actual, the form evil. Suzu Suzuki, I don't know. I have a feeling that Stardom have put her in this position because they feel like she will be the least damaged if she loses to Sayaka Kurara. And I do disagree a little bit. Now, obviously, we are split over what is going to happen with Sayaka Kurara's reign. I mean, again, the story with Saya Kamatani, tremendous. The tie-off, superb. The wrestler involved, I'm still not sold on her as champion. Obviously, she's only one match in. I need to give her a break. I understand that. I just don't know how I feel about Suzu eating a clean loss to Sayaka Kurara. Now, again, you could have Suzu pummel the hell out of Sayaka Kurara and Sayaka Kurara get the roll-up win. But again, that doesn't exactly paint her as a strong champion. I'm still not sure whether she holds this title heading into the 5-Star Grand Prix. This is the last pay-per-view before the 5-Star Grand Prix. Do you think... what are your thoughts on this matchup for a start? And what are your thoughts about Suzu's chances and what this might do if Suzu loses?
And again, just to kind of go back what we said last week when we did our predictions, the reason why we had Suzu dead last is we figured if Tora wins, which was my pick, there'll be all that interference, slip on a banana peel, Momo Watanabe. She doesn't even go here, accidentally kicks Tora, and Sayaka gets the win. I think both me and you said, I know you said that Micah wins, and then Micah wins the belt, and I agreed if it's either Micah or Kid, they win the belt heading into the 5-star. So we didn't see how Suzu would fit in if she would win. That's the reason why. And by the way, we'll get into this 4-way was my favorite match of the show. It was phenomenal. So Suzu gets the win. I'm like, okay, I'm intrigued now because does Sayaka win? Do they hot potato and put the belt on Suzu? I find Suzu more of a champion than I do Sayaka Kurara, bless her. And I feel bad that we're bagging on her, but it's just when it comes to that red belt, it's the best of the best that have held it for 15 years, Rob. The Nanais, the Eos, the Kairis, the Mako Satamaros,
That's the thing.
The Mayus, the Micahs, the Tams, the Julias, the Sherrys, the Tams, the Utami. See what I did there? But I mentioned when Sayaka won this belt, when we did our live review of All-Star Grand Queendom, that she's never had that epic until that day. That was her epic. Suzu's had so many epics. The Micah 5-star final, the Micah match in Sumo Hall for the vacant belt, the Kamatani red belt match, the May Sarah match, the tag stuff with May Sarah,
the matches with Julia,
the match with Shuri, night 1 of the 2023 5-star Grand Prix. Suzu is way more fit for that red belt than Sayaka Kurara, and maybe the only reason why Suzu never won that red belt, it's like, do you throw in Micah when she's at her hottest? No. Do you throw in Kamatani when she just started? No. It's just the timing just wasn't there. Is she good enough to be red belt champion? 100%. When Suzu came out at the end of the pay-per-view to do the challenge that we're seeing on our screen here, place was going nuts for Suzu. People love Suzu. So I wouldn't be shocked if Suzu wins the belt here, again, I think it'd be too much hot potato with that red belt, and they really don't do that. But I buy her more as a champion than I do Sayaka Kurara. And obviously, this isn't my official prediction. We'll get into that in the upcoming weeks. But it's interesting to see how they get out of it. Obviously, they had a plan going into it to keep Suzu strong, to keep Sayaka Kurara strong, because again, she's the one that ended the run of Sayaka Matani. I don't know how they're going to go about it. I'm all for it. The match will be terrific. There's no doubt about it. The match will be terrific. But I'm really intrigued because again, we understood if it was Kid or Mike or Tor, like kind of feeling, I kind of have an idea which way they could go and they should go. That would make sense and benefit the company and those wrestlers. Well, I don't know where they're going with this, but I'm intrigued. I'm here for it. Rob, I'm going to throw one question at you. We see it on our screen. Is this a new tattoo from Suzu Suzuki? I noticed that during the match. Is that new? I don't think I've ever seen that before.
I think it might be. It might be.
We give you the in-depth stuff right here on the Stardom Cat, but we don't mess around.
We need Andy Header's opinion of that tattoo. Yeah, I mean, you touched on it then when you were listing the champions. We've been so
spoiled.
It's spoiled, definitely, but we've been so trained as viewers to think only certain people will be red belt champion. Again, Momo Watanabe has never been a red belt champion. Azumi, Starlight Kid, Natsupoi, half the damn roster has never been a red belt champion. And, you look at some wrestlers, they're probably never going to be red belt champion. Lady C won her first championship, is probably never going to be the red belt champion. Waka Tsukiyama, probably never going to be the red belt champion. Fukigen Death will eventually get there, I just don't know when. But it's not just about in-ring work. It's about the poise. It's about the character. It's about the crowd aura, connection. The superstar aura. And Sayaka Kurara certainly has that. She certainly has the crowd connection. And it might be a me thing, and other people might be going, Rob, it's just you, mate. I still don't see her as a champion. Now, thinking about it, obviously, when they did set up that number one contendership four-way, Suzu was very much a case of how has Sayaka Kurara become red belt champion? Like, you're a weak champion. I could beat you. So one way they could go about it is that Suzu is just extremely cocky, extremely arrogant, and makes a mistake. And Sayaka Kurara exploits that mistake. That's a story they could tell. And again, I might be letting my personal feelings get in the way. If you take Suzu and have her win the red belt, what was the point in giving it to Sayaka Kurara? Now, I know that obviously, again, we have talked about it. The story made sense. The story made sense. The ending made sense. The way the match ended made sense. The only thing that didn't really make sense coming out of it was the fact that you had effectively a mid-carder with your top championship. And again, if you are going to do that, you need to give her more time to elevate. Otherwise, she's nothing but a transitional champion. I'm intrigued to see what they do. I'm intrigued to see how they build it. Obviously, Korakuen Suzu pinned Sayaka Kurara. But again, Sayaka Matani had clean pinfalls to, Natsupoi. She had loads to Natsupoi in the lead up to Sapporo last year. Took a couple to Starlight Kid as well. So, Azumi, it happens. I'm not reading into that whatsoever. So, again, I can see both sides. I think Sayaka Kurara needs to win. But would I be dreadfully offended if Suzu Suzuki won? No. I just think that, I don't know, sullies the title reign of Sayaka Kurara otherwise, because then again, she just looks a bit like a transitional champion. And I feel like people are going to look at it and go, okay, it was a great match with Sayaka Matani. That made sense. The only thing that didn't make sense was her coming out with the red belt. And I feel like that'll only sort of snowball if she loses it after one title defense.
Yeah, one of the many reasons why I love the World of Stardom Championship. It reminds me of when Ring of Honor first started. You had these long, great runs. Samoa Joe, Nigel McGuinness, Bryan Danielson. You had all these great long runs where it's like only the best of the best of the best can hold this belt. And again, no disrespect to Sayaka. I know it seems like we're dumping on her. She's not the best of the best. Stardom has such a great roster that it's like, yeah, there's 4 or 5 people that can probably hold it. Now during Kamatani's run, it's she's making money. You don't change the championship. But Rob, I mean, let's be serious. Is there 10 wrestlers in this company better than Sayaka Kurara? Probably. Probably. I mean, Kamatani, Momo, Azumi, Starlight Kid, Utami, Suzu, Tora, Kunami. I know it sounds like I'm Natsupoi Soriano. I mean, jeez, sounds like we're dumping on her, but it's like be one thing if it's like, hey, we're in a pigeonhole. We thought this person's injured, this person left to go to WWE, this person left to go to AEW, this person left to go to Marigold, this person left to go to Tokyo Joshi Pro. Like this is the best of a bad scenario. It's like there's more fitting champions in this company. At the same time, put her in the main event of Yokohama, 8,000 people. Put her in the main event here. I think that we'll get into the numbers here in a moment. I think they broke the record from the last time we were there. So it's drawing, but at the same time, hometown, and they're chanting Maki Ito pretty much the whole entire match. And then she gets the win and what was a great match. Suzu comes out and the people are going nuts for Suzu. I think it might be at a case where it's like she won the belt, they're happy, and now the dust settles, and now it's like, is she being shoved down our throat? Very much like how Roman Reigns was when he first turned babyface, where she's being shoved down our throat, and then the fans are going to backlash back at her. I just don't think she's going to be a long-term champion, so I don't think we have to wait. We don't have that problem, but we might have already had it here on this show, buddy. So again, we'll wait and see. Regardless, it's gonna be a great match. Suzuki's phenomenal wrestler. Sayaka Kurara again is a really, really terrific wrestler. So interesting to see what happens, my friend. It's interesting to see what happens. Again, I wouldn't be shocked if Suzu does take the belt because they might be saying, "Yeah, this isn't what we wanted out of it. We have to get the belt off Kurara before the company starts." Going a little downhill because the company's red hot right now. So again, we'll see what happens, my friend. We'll see what happens. We'll be here for it.
I mean, I'd be very surprised if the company goes downhill because of it. I mean, we've already said, you mentioned they broke the record in Nagoya for a pay-per-view. I think it's more a case of they want a more established talent, or there are benefits for a more established talent at the top of the roster. Again, Sayaka Kurara's in-ring work is great. It's just, I think the image of her holding both that and the New Blood tag title are quite jarring. But again, we could be being far too harsh. Only time will tell. We have got our Wonder of Stardom Championship match set up for the conversion as well. Hanan will be taking on her Wingori tag team partner, Saya Ida. Hanan called her out after defeating B Priestley in another really, really, really good match. I am very, very excited for this, Mr. Turner.
Yeah, we haven't seen Hanan and Saida cross the ring from each other in quite some time. This is a match of basically who's better. Obviously, the B. Priestley had the storyline from after when Hanan won the belt. And again, I think the best built match going into this show at Queen's Dynasty, where this is like Hanan called out Saida, hey, you're my tag partner. We won the tag tournament 2 years ago. We were tag champions for 6 or 7 months, one of the best tag teams in Joshi over the last few years. Let's just have a match for this white belt. So I'm all for it. We got a little preview tag in Korakuen. We'll probably get some preview tags on the way to the conversion, Rob Goodwin. So I'm all excited for it. This is going to be terrific. Saida is another one. Stock has risen up so much over the last 7 or 8 months. Her and Hanan are going to have an absolute barn burner. So, I mean, you look at this conversion card, 3 matches already announced. We talked about the main event with Suzu and Sayaka Kurara. This Wonder match is going to be great. Obviously, we have the IWGP match, which we'll get into in a moment. And then what's Kamatani doing? What's Utami doing? What's Kid doing? What's Azumi doing? So, yeah, the conversion show. And I checked the tickets a few days ago, even before Utami came back. I think all but like 3 sections are sold out or near sold out. So, yeah, this show will probably do really, really well.
The final match that has been set up for this show, IWGP Women's Championship on the line. Syuri defending against Rina Yamashita. Now, this was set up at Korakuen Hall. Syuri calling out Rina, Rina accepting the challenge on one condition, that we aren't going to see them across the ring from each other until the pay-per-view. Now, that does it's quite refreshing, really, I suppose, because we're not going to know what these two are capable of together until that pay-per-view, which adds an air of intrigue that we don't ordinarily get with Stardom pay-per-view match, because obviously you have prelude tags, you have matches where you have tag team matches against each other, have them trade pinfalls, have little exchanges that whet the appetite. This is a different approach, and I quite like it, I'm not going to lie.
A horse of a different color. Yeah, I'm all for it. And I liked how Sherry called Rena out, and Rena was already up the aisleway at Korakuen Hall, and she had to sprint back. And she's like, "Yeah, I'll take the shot. Yeah, I'm all for it, but this is going to be terrific." Again, I think I know who's winning this one, but it's not going to sully my enjoyment for this match. Rina Yamashita is a phenomenal, phenomenal talent. Again, Sherry might be the most consistent wrestler in Stardom the last 5 or 6 years, especially when it comes to the big matches. You're putting the IWGP Joshi on the line. Yeah, this is my jam. It's going to be hard hitting, right up my alley. Again, these 3 matches announced for the conversion. I'm super excited for it. This one may steal the whole entire show, my friend. That's for sure. Arguably the biggest match in maybe Yamashita's career, wrestling for IWGP, the New Japan Joshi Championship, wrestling one of the best wrestlers in wrestling the last 5 or 6 years in a building, probably well over 2,000 people. So, she's going to bring it. Sherry's going to be all for it, my friend.
Moving on then, what was announced at Queen's Dynasty was the block schedule for the 5-star Grand Prix. We are opening Saturday, July 18th at Ota Ward City Gym. And we're going to end at Ryogoku on Sunday, August 23rd, with the semifinals and the finals. What we have had confirmed is that the format is going to be the same as last year. 4 blocks, with the final block matches happening on Sunday, August 16th in Act City, Hamamatsu, and then the playoffs and quarterfinals happening at Korakuen Hall on Tuesday, August 18th. And it is the exact same as last year. Red Stars A, Red Stars B, Blue Stars A, and Blue Stars B as well. So the winners of the respective blocks will receive a bye through the playoffs straight to the quarterfinals, where then they will meet the winners of the playoffs and then obviously into the semifinals and the finals on the 23rd. I think it worked very well last year, Matt, and offered up some genuine surprises as well. I think they're absolutely spot on not to change it this year either.
It's not broke, don't fix it, buddy. As much as, beginning of the 5-star, a lot of people were like, there's too many people in the 5-star. And obviously night 1 was so many matches, and a lot of matches they had to cut time down. And I think a lot of those matches couldn't have been as good as they want them to be. See Azumi versus Tora, I think it was like 4 minutes, and if had it gotten like 10, it would have been an absolute banger. But that Korakuen Hall show, it's one of the best pure wrestling shows I've ever seen in my 40 years watching wrestling, meaning the playoff show from Korakuen Hall last year with the Zumi versus Han and Zumi versus Sayaka Kurara, Momo versus Suri, Suzu Suzuki versus Soriano. It goes on and on and on. So, yeah, if it's not broke, don't fix it. It worked. Don't know what they're going to do as far as people goes, Rob, because you have to remember the potential what we could be having this year in the tournament that we didn't have last year. Obviously, we mentioned Utami. I think that's a really good possibility. I'm glad you brought that up during our hour-long Utami talk. I'm with you. I'm pretty sure, she's going to be in this tournament, needs to be in this tournament. Remember, Shuri was injured. Micah was injured. We didn't have Hazuki and Kagama. It's a possibility we get them there. So now do they pull people out? Or is this a 40-block tournament? I don't know. I don't care. I'm all for it. It does look like, Rob, if you can indulge me, can you just go back to the previous slide with the dates? Now, these are all the dates, correct? That for
these
the 5-star.
Are all the dates.
So we're starting on the 18th. So we're literally getting 3 shows in a row. I have this correct: the 18th, 19th, and the 20th. Those are the first. Okay. At first, I thought like night 1 was just like solo, like how it was last year. So we're going back to having a night 1 and night 2 back to back. So it does say all blocks. My guess is, and again, I don't know anything here. My guess is night 1, night 2, and night 3, since they're all blocks, I think you're going to see a little bit of everybody, a little bit of red, a little bit of blue, intertwine on these first
Spread
3
out
nights.
over the 3 nights.
Exactly. Considering
like they did with the Cinderella tournament.
Boom. Rob Goodwin, I tell you what, you know your stuff, buddy. You know your stuff. Your internet might be not be working, but that brain of yours, that big brain of yours, buddy, it is. It is. So there's a possibility that, again, we could have 35, 40 people in this tournament, and they're just spreading out nights 1, night 2, and night 3 with all the competitors. Again, I'm thoroughly excited because we're literally getting 3 nights back to back. I'm looking at this format here, and it does look like that I'm probably going to have to take Tuesday the 18th off work, as well as I think no, I can't take the 23rd off work because then I'm going to be in England the next week, and then the week after that I'm going to go see Iron Maiden. So that's going to be a long day for me, Sunday the 23rd. But I'm all for it, buddy. I'm all for it. I love the 5-star Grand Prix. It's been great ever since I started watching it in 2022. Every tournament's been phenomenal, and this year could be the best. It really could be the best, considering all the great wrestlers improving. Sayaka Kamatani's chase may be back, because as great as Sayaka Kamatani has been over the last 4 years, she's never won the 5-star Grand Prix. Rumored to win it in 2023 before she got injured on night 1 against Tam. So you're throwing that in. Again, Utami possibly in it. Shuri, Maika, Hazuki, Fuki and Death. I know she wasn't in there last year. Yeah. I'm pumped for it. We're probably more than likely going to start getting some announcements probably over the next 3 or 4 weeks as to who's going to be in said blocks. Hopefully they don't wait as long as they did last year. Remember, it was like the week before. We're like, who's even in the tournament here?
I imagine we'll get some movement on it at the conversion. I think they announced. Did they announce them? They must have announced the majority of the block at the Sapporo show. It was like a week or so before the tournament where they actually announced the actual competitors, but they've literally got a pay-per-view on June the 20th. So, less than a month before the start of the show. It makes sense for them to give the competitors out and the block breakdown then.
Or do a press conference. That's what they did last year. Remember, that's what they announced Be Pleasy Suri, then half the wrestlers weren't there.
Yeah, it was a strange press conference, I'm not gonna lie. And not in the usual way the Stardom press conferences are strange. But you know what I mean. What I mean. I mean, to be fair, they have got less strange now that Tam's left. Although Rian seems to be taking up the mantle quite well. But yeah, I mean, there's obviously only a couple of shows where it's primarily one block. A lot of the shows are all blocks. But again, I thought the way they did it last year was great, especially when you had the individual block nights and they were given time. That Sendai Pit show, I think it was night 4 of the tournament where it was just Red Stars B. And it was like my show of the tournament for ages and ages and ages. Korakuen Hall is always one to look for. So Tuesday, the 28th of July, Korakuen Hall, and Monday, August the 3rd as well. So there's 2 Korakuen Hall shows. So definitely ones you need to keep your eye on, as well as the double shot in Sapporo as well. Utsun and Maya. So that's Blue Stars. Utsun and Maya, which makes me think that you will probably have Hanan, Rina, and Hina all in Blue Stars. Where's the Kyoto show? August the 15th is a Blue Stars show, so I imagine that Miyu Amasaki will be Blue Stars. Kobe is Blue Stars, so I think you are probably looking at Aya Sakura being Blue Stars as well. Isn't Hanako also from Kobe?
Yeah,
so
I believe so.
She might be in there. Have they got a show in Fukushima this year? No, that's it. All right, I was just seeing if we could work out which blocks people are going to be in. I mean, again, I could be completely wrong, but there we are. Let's change tack then before my internet decides to cut out for a 5th time on this episode. Hopefully, guys, you haven't noticed because I've done a fantastic job and stopped up till 3 a.m. editing the episode. But we have got movement on Hazuki, who will be taking part on this Saturday's Collision show, May 30th, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, and she will be taking on, in singles action, friend of the show, Maya World, which again we've already seen. We've already seen that singles match, haven't we? And it was fantastic. In Spark Joshi was tremendous. Obviously, Hazuki is taking part in the Owen Cup tournament. She is going to be taking on Persephone in the first round of that, the Owen Hart Cup, not the Owen Cup, sorry. We don't know when that match is happening as of yet because I believe Persephone is still not cleared. But obviously, Tony Khan and AEW felt the need to introduce or reintroduce the AEW fans to Hazuki. It's going to be a great match, especially if given time. Maya World's tremendous. Hazuki is obviously one of the best wrestlers in the world, and that is not me being exaggerating or using hyperbole. She's fantastic. Her versus Persephone, even though I think Hazuki is going home in the first round, her versus Persephone will also be great when that does eventually happen. Now, Matt, before we go into this and talk about how much of a great opportunity this is for worldwide Hazuki, it's a slight issue. Because as we are going to be talking about very shortly, have they changed the card? Oh, no, they haven't. There we go. Hazuki is supposed to be in Kobe on May 30th. She's currently scheduled in a three-way tag alongside Koguma against Cup High Mate and the Ito Respect Army. She's also supposed to be in KBS Hall the very next day in the main event alongside Maika, Hanako, and Koguma against Azumi Miyawamasaki, Starlight Kid, and Ema Maishima. So the math ain't quite mathing. I am assuming that the right hand isn't quite telling the left hand what it's doing.
You don't see the solution here, Rob?
Time travel.
Well, that's a good one. What about Shin Hirota Hazuki?
Oh my God, imagine. Oh, if it doesn't happen now, I'm going to be so disappointed. I imagine what has happened is either Tony Khan has thought, you know what? I need Hazuki. I'm going to book Hazuki. And Stardom have forgotten that she's supposed to be in America, or Tony Khan has announced this without consulting Stardom, and Stardom have announced their card. I don't really see why there would be an overlap here. There's no way she's appearing on the Stardom shows, let's put it that way.
No, and it's not like it's a pay-per-view. Obviously, again, Hazuki, if I had to pick a favorite wrestler, it's Hazuki. The AEW is going to be bigger for her. Worldwide TV. It's against Maya World. It's not like it's a pay-per-view. It's not like it's a singles match. And let's be honest, everybody that watches Stardom, we're mostly excited to watch Utami's return. So it's like, okay, you like do the AEW thing. It probably just got lost in translation. Tony Khan's a busy guy. So my guess is she won't be on the Stardom shows. Again, maybe we get Shin Hirota Hazuki. Again, another story for another day. I don't think it's going to happen. But we did see Maya.
We can dream, man.
We are dreamers, buddy. We are dreamers, as Ozzy say. I'm a dreamer. Dream my life away. You're right, buddy. We did see this match on Spark Joshi last year, and these two absolutely tore down the house. I was lucky enough to interview Maya World about a week before that match, and she was really excited to wrestle Hazuki. Would like to wrestle a lot more of the Joshis. Her style lends more to the Joshi style. We're getting it here. For all of our listeners over there on Talk Joshi, we do a Women of Honor segment where I've been pretty much covering pretty much every single Maya World's matches over there, because she's been basically, I know she's under AEW contract, but she's mostly been wrestling for Ring of Honor. And as good as she was a year ago, Rob, she's even better now. This is a great opportunity for Hazuki and Maya World to really steal the show on Collision. Don't know how much time they're going to have, but at the same time, we've seen Hazuki do great things in 6, 7, 8 minutes. And obviously Maya World is really fantastic. I'm super excited for this one. Again, Hazuki and Maya World on AEW Collision on Saturday. I know where I will be seated at 8 p.m., my friend. At 8 p.m., I will be watching this one live. Real excited. Again, obviously a massive fan of Hazuki. I love Maya World, really a fantastic talent, and glad that Maya World finally got that big contract that she so richly earned, wrestling for Ring of Honor and AEW. And again, AEW Collision on TNT, the big superstation there against Hazuki. What's not to love, buddy? What's not to love?
Speaking of those Kobe and KBS Hall shows, the full cards have been announced. Expect changes for the reasons we've just gone through. But Stardom Ari and Sambo Hall in Kobe on May the 30th. Why is that important? Because Utami Hayashishita has her first singles match back in the company. She'll be taking on Akira Kuragane. I can't help but laugh at the render that they have used on the Stardom website, because it's literally just her face as she entered Korakuen Hall. We've also got So that is due to open the show. We've got 6-woman tag as well. Sayori, Rani Yagami, and Tomoka Inaba taking on Hate, Natsuko Tora, Ruaka, and Azusa Inaba. We've got a 3-way, Waka Tsukiyama versus Rian versus Motoi Hamabe. That aforementioned 3-way tag, FWC versus Cup High Mate versus Maki Ito and Kikyo Furusawa, if we can find Maki Ito, that is. 6-woman tag, God's Eye, the new Artist of Stardom champions, Amisori, Hina, and Lady C will be taking on Starlight Kid Azumi and potential Neo Genesis member Ema Maishima. We'll be talking about that in a moment. 8-woman tag, Natsuko Yuna Mizumori, Ai Sakura, the returning Ann Kanai as well. We'll be taking on Hate, Sayaka Matani, Konami, B. Priestley, and Rina. And then in your main event, we've got Sayaka Kurara and Hanan versus Saya Ida and Suzu Suzuki. So again, expect changes to that card and expect changes to this card as well. The beautiful KBS Hall in Kyoto, May 31st. Opening straight away with a 10-woman tag, Sayori, Tomoka Inaba, Natsuko Yuna Mizumori, and Aya Sakura taking on Hate, Tora, Konami, Sayaka Matani, Rina, and B. Priestley. You have also got Sayaka Matani, what am I on about? Wingori, Hanan, and Saya Ida taking on Utami, Hayashishita, and Motoi Hamabe. 8-woman tag, Amisori, Hina, Lady C, Rani Yagami taking on Maki Ito, Kikyo Furusawa, Waka Tsukiyama, and Rian. We've then got another tag match, Sayaka Kurara and Ann Kanai versus Suzu and Akira Kuragane. Fuwa-chan will be on this show. She is teaming with Sayori Ano against Ruaka and Azusa Inaba. And then in your main event, 8-woman tag, Azumi, Miyu Amasaki returning for a homecoming show, Starlight Kid and Ema Maishima taking on Maika, Hanako, Hazuki, and Koguma. Once again, expect changes to that card as well, Matt Turner.
Yeah, regardless, I'm excited. Rob, real quick, are these VODs or are they live?
I don't know. I am going to assume that they are live. The KBS Hall shows are usually live. It wouldn't surprise me if they've put Akira and Utami on first because it's live and it's going to be on YouTube.
There you go, buddy. There you go. You keep going. I'm going to plug in. It just got really hot in this room. I'm going to plug in my fan. You keep going, but I'll be back in uno el segundo.
That's absolutely fine because what we do have, ladies and gentlemen, are the winners of our predictions challenge for Queen's Dynasty on the 23rd of May. Thank you to everyone, by the way, who entered. We really do appreciate it. If you want to enter our next competition, which will be the conversion on the 20th of June, make sure you sign to our Patreon. $1 tier and above gets you access to the form. But again, we had a double shot on the 23rd. We had Queen's Dynasty and we had Shine Forever. But Matt Turner, we have 2 winners of this competition. And are you ready to announce those 2 winners, good sir?
Maybe you should announce it because you know the winners. So maybe you should do it.
That is true. I'm not going to make you do it. That'd be really mean. Right. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, our winners of the I keep calling it Wrestle Dynasty. This is your fault because you called it Wrestle Dynasty to start off with.
I'll take the heat. That's okay. That's why I put the fan on, taking the heat.
The Queen's Dynasty predictions is Berry 420 and Mr. Adkins. Congratulations to both those men. 13 points they got on this show. And Berry 420, by the way, in the lead in the actual league table as well. So far, 2 wins out of 3 for Berry 420. Pretty unassailable lead he is starting to gain at the top of the leaderboard. For those who care, I got 10. Matt Turner, you got 12, buddy. So well done. I thought I was onto it when Hate managed to pin Fuwa-chan. I was like, get in. I'm onto a winner here, and then successfully managed to get nothing for quite a lot of the rest of the card. So, yeah, never mind, eh?
What can you do, buddy? I know I did really good on the Marigold one, Rob, but however, I did predict Willow Nightingale to win the whole entire Owen Hart tournament, And then about 4 hours after we recorded that, they announced that she's out of the tournament. So I was like, oh, that's what I get when I do really well. It's like something really bad's gonna happen. I'm like, yeah, that was it. I think I had Willow and Mina in the finals. Mina gets bounced in round one. Willow doesn't make the tournament. So
outstanding. But again, congratulations, Berry 420 and Mr. Adkins. We are not worthy. We are not worthy. And yeah, again, keep an eye out for our patrons for the conversion form on June the 20th. Let's delve in then. Finally, 1 hour and 36 minutes into the recording of this podcast, we're going to get into the Queen's Dynasty pay-per-view. Just a quick point. I think it's probably best just for my Wi-Fi, because again, the amount of times it's already cut out. We'll go through the entirety of the pay-per-view. What we'll do with Korakuen Hall is we'll just highlight a couple of matches that you should go out of your way to see, just because my Wi-Fi might explode if this goes 3 hours. But in terms of Queen's Dynasty, my God, I need to stop this. It was coming at you live from the Entrio Toyota Gosai Memorial Gymnasium in Aichi. Attendance 1,887. Stardom did announce that was a sellout of the venue. It's Stardom's first show, actually, at the venue. It's a 23.66% increase on their previous pay-per-view attendance in Aichi, which was 1,526 for Nagoya Golden Fight in October 2024, making this the highest attended Nagoya pay-per-view for Stardom. In terms of your results, we open with a three-way match. Waka Tsukiyama defeating Rian and Motoi Hamabe. Waka getting the pin over Rian with the Moonlight Dream in 5 minutes and 29 seconds. Matt, you bet with your heart, and you absolutely nailed it, good sir. Singles match, Syuri defeating Kyoka Katatsu with the Suzaku in 10 minutes and 3 seconds. Tag team action next as the main card started proper. The hate team, Saya Kamatani and Ruwaka, defeated Sioriano and Fuwachan. Saya Kamatani pinning Fuwachan with the Star Crusher in 9 minutes and 20 seconds. Three-way match, Sayurida defeated Hanako and Xena. Sayurida rolling up Xena with the Itabashi in 10 minutes and 19 seconds. Artist of Stardom #1 contendership three-way match, the God's Eye team of Amisori, Hina, and Lady C defeated the Cosmic Angels team of Natsuko, Yuna Mizumori, and Ai Sakura. The Mavida Loka team of Akira Kuragane, Itsuki Aoki, and Rina Yamashita. Amisori pinning Aya with the Liger Thunderbolt in 10 minutes and 22 seconds. Tag team action, FWC, Hazuki and Koguma, they defeated Azumi and Ema Maishima, with Hazuki pinning Emma with the diving senton in 14 minutes and 44 seconds. Future of Stardom Championship match up next. Rani Agami, the champion, successfully retaining the belt against Kikyo Furusawa, submitting Kikyo with the tail lock in 10 minutes and 45 seconds. Shout out Tei Honma. World of Stardom #1 contendership four-way match. We've already touched on it. Suzu Suzuki defeating Starlight Kid, Natsuko Tora, and Maika. Suzu pinning Maika, my favorite, to win the match with a German suplex in 13 minutes and 7 seconds. Semi-main event, the Wonder of Stardom Championship match. Hanan, the champion, defeating B. Priestley with the wrist clutch backdrop hold in 20 minutes and 2 seconds. And then in your main event, the World of Stardom Championship match, Sayaka Kurara making her first successful defense of the red belt, defeating Maki Ito with a Tokameki spear in 21 minutes and 51 seconds. Matt Turner, we opened with a three-way and the biggest advert for betting with your heart I've ever seen. Waka Tsukiyama finally overcoming the pesky Rian to secure that victory.
Not only that, but Waka and Korakuen Hall defeated Maki Ito, the former #1 contender.
True.
So is maybe Waka and Suzu Suzuki in a death match for the red belt, Rob? Maybe is that what we're building to? Another
I
story.
think so.
Another story for another day. Fun match. We saw this three-way the week before. They were really terrific here. Matoi's another one that's just ever improving. Rihanna's got her diehard fan base. She was terrific. But sometimes, Rob, even a broken clock is right twice a day. Betting with my heart works here. Waka getting the win with the Moonlight Dream. Fun way to start the show. 3.25 stars for me.
Yeah, because don't forget, this was actually a tag team match initially, but obviously with Miyu Amasaki having to drop out because of illness, Ema Maishima was bumped from this match to the tag team match with Azumi, which actually had ramifications, which we'll be talking about a little bit later on, because it turns out we have possibly the most indecisive rookies in the entire world when it comes to choosing factions. We then moved on to Syuri versus Kyoka Katatsu, which I know that you were very excited about, Matt, just because of the sheer volume of kicks. One of the things on the prediction sheet was, would we have 0 to 10 kicks or 10 or 11 to 11 plus, basically? And we'd passed 11 by the 2-minute mark. I was like, fair enough.
They started Muay Thai style, and there was 8 kicks within the first minute thrown. So we ended on 23 landed kicks. It could, if I go back and watch it, maybe 1 or 2 get added, but this definitely was the over. This match was great. 10 minutes. It was nonstop. It was my style match, very shoot style match. We knew Shuri was going to win, but Kyoka Tatsu really brought it to Shuri, and then Shuri brought it back.
Shuri gave her a lot, to be fair.
Shuri gave her a lot.
I didn't expect it to get that much out of her. And this got time as well.
But she made her work for it too. She definitely made it work. Kyoka Tatsu, again, we talked about this, maybe a 40-person deep roster during the 5-star Grand Prix. I wouldn't be heartbroken. I'd actually prefer if Kyoka Tatsu is in the 5-star, because we've seen her, upgrade her look. She's getting better in the ring. And again, she was able to hang with one of the best in the world there. This was terrific. You knew what you were going to get. We got it in spades. Lots of kicks, lots of strikes, a lot of submissions, great counter striking between the two. This was fantastic. I had this at 4 stars, buddy. This was, as you say, my jam, my friend. Really terrific stuff, and a great showing for Kyoka Tatsu on a big show here at Queens, not Wrestle Dynasty.
It's interesting you bringing up the 5-star. I'm just having a look at the tournament field from last year, and I don't really know who you are going to take out. Obviously, Bozilla, I'm looking at Blue Stars A. Bozilla's obviously still out with the ACL injury. Fingers crossed she's back as soon as possible. But otherwise, there's nobody you'd take out of that, apart from if Uriah Himi is still injured. Suri, maybe not in the tournament this year, and maybe Momo Kogo doesn't make the tournament field this year. Momo Watanabe, depending on the injury. So there's a couple of potential spaces in Blue Stars B. Red Stars A, Sayaka Mitani, Hanan, Meiseri, Yuna Mizumori, Lady C, Waka Tsukiyama, Azusa Inaba, and B Priestley. With the exception of maybe Waka, I can't see many people being bounced from that block. And I can't see anyone at all being bounced from Red Stars B. Kid, Azumi, Natsupoi, Sayaka, Kurara, Tomoka Inaba, Rian, Natsuko Tora, and Rina. And it's a really competitive field, and I know that they've extended it so that there are more opportunities, and I'm a fan of how they've managed to extend it without making it seem more arduous. But we think Utami's definitely going to be a part of the tournament fields. Again, there was no one who had a bad tournament. Like Uriah Himi came in as a last-minute replacement, I believe, but I can't remember who for, and got the absolute hell beaten out of her for 7 matches and just kept coming back for more and really impressed. So you know what? She deserves to be in it. Again, unless injury is a thing. Same for Momo Kogo.
You mentioned taking people out. Do you leave Azumi, Starlight Kid, and Natsupoi? Do you leave them in the tournament, Rob?
I mean, I am slightly sick of seeing great wrestling.
I'm tired of it.
Yeah,
Stop.
Absolutely.
Stop with your great wrestling.
I want the entire tournament to be like the G1 Climax 28, where Tamatonga and Bad Luck Fale just ruined the entire field for everybody. Just every single match attacked fans, all sorts. That's what I want with every match. Open the main card proper. Soriano, Fuwa-chan, Sayaka Mitani, and Ruwaka. This was real fun. This was a lot of fun. A great way to open the main card. Obviously, Fuwa-chan, the first out. Her dynamic with Soriano, just proper chalk and cheese. Like, Soriano so comes in, the aura farming queen, just gliding to the ring, does a pose, and then Fuwa-chan just bounces out of nowhere like that power ball that you get, just bounces and is like, yeah, tries to get Soriano to do it as well. Sayori's like, what are you? She's like, basically, Soriano looked like she'd taken her really, really overexcited golden retriever for a walk. And all Fuwa-chan wanted to do was chase things. That's all that she wanted to. That was the dynamic of those two at the opening. And then, do you know what? Once they started wrestling, they worked really well as a team. I thought Fuwa-chan, again, we talked about her debut re-debut at Dream Queendom, and I was very much like, right, great match, fantastic match, did so well, far better than I thought she would. Let's see what she's like apart from Hazuki, okay? Because we know that Hazuki's trained her, we know that she's very close with Hazuki. Let's see what she can do when she's been told basically to stand on her own 2 feet, and she's killing it. She really, really is killing it. She's becoming one of the most entertaining people on the roster, someone I actively seek out now to watch. She just gets wrestling. She really does get wrestling. She took that Star Crusher like a champ as well.
You can see how much she loves it. We see these celebrities.
That's really important.
We see these celebrities come in and out, and just like, they love it for a moment just to kind of get in the spotlight, do something different, get a payday, whatnot. You can just see it from the moment she cuts the curtain. Like, she loves this. Like, she loves this is what she enjoys. And you're right, her and Soriano, they're completely different yet the same. Like, I can't explain. It just works really well together. Ruwaka was the proper jerk in this match, like getting the heat in proper places because that's exactly what you need. Like, again, I know Kamatani is heel, but you're not had everybody booing her. Everybody loves Kamatani, and sometimes they like to boo her in certain situations. And obviously, Anu is over and Fuwa-chan is Fuwa-chan. So that putting Ruwaka in this match was perfect because her stuff stood out. It's like, we need to get proper heat, and we're really not going to get it from Kamatani because, again, it's Kamatani and people love her, hence that's why they're making so much money. The Kamatani Anu stuff, as far as wrestling goes, was the best part of this match. And we knew it would be. I mean, one of the best matches in Kamatani's red belt reign was that phenomenal match he had with Anu in Sumo Hall, which we were there for, my friend.
We were.
Fuwa-chan and Sayaka Kamatani is a match when they pulled the trigger on. And again, it doesn't need to be for the red belt. Obviously, Kamatani's not the red belt champion. You could do it in Korakuen, and you can do it in the 5-star. If Fuwa-chan is in the 5-star, it's another name we may as well throw in there. It's a possibility. You could do it on the road to Sumo Hall, sometime in the fall. They just worked really well together. Fuwa-chan's great. Kamatani could have a great match with anybody. The dynamic with Fuwa-chan and Soriano was terrific. I wish it would have went a little bit longer. I still thought it hit all the beats with eventually just a little mistiming there with Anu and Fuwa-chan that opened the door for Kamatani to take advantage with the Star Crusher. 3 and 3/4 stars, a really solid match with some really cool storylines, intertwining storylines with Kamatani, Soriano, Fuwa-chan, and obviously Ruwaka playing the big jerk heel route, because that's what you need in a match with this much star power and aura. You need that one jerk to be like, the whole party can't be just a great party. You do need somebody to take the air out of the balloon, to quote the late, great Roddy Piper.
3-way, Sayurita, Hanako, and Xena. Again, Matt, just another fun 3-way.
Yeah, we should have under over on chops on this one. I realized once it was starting, we didn't put it on there. I don't know what it was, but it was great. I mean, everybody looked terrific here. Xena is such a special talent. She really is. And again, we'll get into it briefly, talking about her great performance in Korakuen Hall, like that 2-step German that she does. Her and Hanako worked really well together. You're going to get a chop off with Ida and Xena. You wanted it, you got it, and it was phenomenal. A great hard-hitting bout that didn't overstay its welcome, with Ida getting the pin, getting some steam behind Ida, because I think me and you both were pretty sure Hanako was going to get the win here. I'm like, I'm never going to say no to a Saya Ida win. She's fantastic, and me and Ida do share the same birthday. Then you find out why she did get said win. I had this at 3.5 stars. A really, really fun stuff. And again, I like how they're highlighting Xena. We're getting Xena in more highlighted matches. I would love to see Xena maybe challenge Shuri for that IWGP championship sometime in the summer. But again, excellent stuff here. 3.5 stars for me.
I thought you were going to say showed why that your birthday was the best day. I was like, what? But I do just want to say here, and it was something I meant to bring up at the start of the pay-per-view review. I really enjoyed the visuals of this page, having all of the The logos, all the faction logos, like on fire on the screen during this. You had like the apocalyptic sort of scene happening on the screen during it. It felt like a really, really well-produced show. Really enjoyed it from that standpoint. We then moved on to the Artist of Stardom three-way match. This was chaos in the best possible way, and the right people won, Matt Turner. And we are going to be continuing with this story at Korakuen Hall, because boy howdy did we have a feel-good way to end in Korakuen Hall. But yes, Amisori, Hina and Lady C becoming your new number one contenders for the Artist of Stardom champion, which I think every single person did predict.
Yeah, this was great. We knew it was going to be one of those matches where it's like, okay, we have 9 people in here. We're only going to get a few minutes. Go out there and play the hits. And that's what this did. This was great. Again, 9 people. It goes a shade under 11 minutes. So you got about a minute per person. But you got a lot of double teams. You got a lot of great teamwork. Again, Sakura Demon. We got Sayaka Kurara is obviously our World of Stardom champion. I would love to see Yuna and Aya team up and maybe make a challenge for O2 line for those tag belts. I think that's a match that everybody would like to see. They had great teamwork there. Rena looked really good here. And then you find out why, because obviously she's challenging Sherry for the championship. Zuki Aoki is another one, just a phenomenal wrestler. I don't think we realize how great a wrestler she is when she's wrestling in Stardom because of just everybody else. Like even in this match, like look who's here. Hina, Ami Sori, Yuna, Aya, obviously Natsupoi, probably the best wrestler, no disrespect to the other 8 ladies, probably the best worker in this match. But you go back and watch anything with the Zuki Aoki and an Oz Academy or one of the other independents, it's like, wow, what a really fantastic worker she is. She was terrific here. Said it a few weeks ago. I'm going to say it again. Hina versus Natsupoi is the singles match I really want to see, with Natsupoi being one of the best wrestlers in this company the last few years, and Hina's ascension over the last 8 or 9 months. You're just a great wrestler, and really now another or a level of aura these last few months. That's a match I want to see. It got teased here. Ultimately, what this comes down to is the great triple teamwork from God's Eye that helps them get the win. It's that elevated 3D, the flapjack into the 3D from God's Eye, and then Ami Sori putting away Aya Sakura with the like a thunderbolt for the 3 count. We did have this prediction right, but we were pretty sure Akira was eating the fall. So it's nice seeing Akira dodge the bullet on her way to steamroll Utami in 4 minutes this weekend.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's not even going to be with a proper finisher. It's going to be like with a body slam or something like that.
That's a punch for the body slam. That's like when Sari beat somebody with a forearm. Who was it? Was it Aya or Sayasa? She beat somebody with like a forearm on the way.
Was it Rana? Was it Rani Yagami?
Might have been. She beat somebody with a forearm. Like, I'm all for that. Masawa beat a lot of people with the forearm. Again, great match, buddy. 3 3/4 stars for me.
We then moved on to tag team action. Obviously, this was initially supposed to be the Goddess of Stardom Championship match, but Miyu Amasaki was taken on well after Korakuen Hall on the 17th. So Ema Maishima was parachuted in. This was just made an ordinary straight-up tag. Hazuki getting the win, but Ema Maishima, again, given the nod, given that tap on the shoulder, more than proving herself to be an excellent addition to this roster. And again, we talk about it all the time. The threshold for and the sort of basement for rookies now just keeps going up and up and up and up. The talent that some of these women come in with is mad, absolutely mad. Azumi clearly realized this as well, because she offered forth an invitation to be a part of the coolest faction in Stardom, in Neo Genesis. And Ema Maishima said, I don't know. What are you doing, Emma? What could you... Basically, she said, I need to think about it. What could you possibly need to think about? Come on, Emma. Neo Genesis needs a pin eater, Emma. Come on. No, I'm joking. But, Emma, come on. Come on now. I mean, to be fair, she is tagging with, I think, Azumi and Starlight Kid in Kobe, and then she's with Azumi, Starlight Kid, and Miyu Amasaki in KBS Hall. So I expect very, very soon that Ema Maishima will be a member of Neo Genesis. And Kanai, by the way, just for those who were paying attention earlier, she is teaming with members of Cosmic Angels on both nights, as well as her 12 Labors of Hercules continue as Aya Sakura puts her through her paces to try and get her to sign to Cosmic Angels.
These kids nowadays, Rob, they don't realize how good they have it. I
They
remember
really
back
don't.
in my day when Saya Kamatani
Back in
begged.
my day.
Back in my day when Saya Kamatani, this is legit. Rob will back me up with this. Saya Kamatani begged Utami to be part of Queen's Quest. And Utami was even the leader. It was Momo. She begged Utami. Another thing you could add to that story, Rob. Another thing. So I remember when they would beg to be in factions. Now it's like Emma's not begging. It's Azumi, one of the best wrestlers on planet. It's like, hey, you want to be in this faction? Emma's like, think about it. Like, what to think about?
I guess. Jesus.
She didn't even say.
Don't want to put a label on it, guys. God.
These darn kids. This match is great. Considering
it was really good.
This again, I'll tell you right now, 4.25 stars, one of my favorite matches from this show. If this match is this good, what's going to be like when eventually they do run the O2 line versus FWC title match? Because that's how terrific this was. Emma was on her game. Again, they tapped her on the shoulder since she's been back from injury, and she's hit home run after home run after home run.
Absolutely.
Won the rookie tournament. Great match in Yokohama against Rana Yagami. Was terrific here. We start with Azumi and Kagama, and immediately I'm transported back a few years ago from their feud for the high speed championship. Excellent stuff there. And then Hazuki and Ema tag in. I'm like, all right, we're going to slow it down. No, they like go even faster than Azumi and Kagama. I was like, what? Okay. Ultimately, where the big advantage is, and it makes sense, is who's the team here. It's FWC, and they're the next challengers for the belts. So it's about getting the team over, and it's great teamwork onto Hazuki, or excuse me, great teamwork from Hazuki and Kagama onto Azumi and Emma. We get another great pairing with Azumi and Hazuki. Again, we have not seen a proper singles match from the two of them in quite some time. If they're in the same blocks of the 5-star Grand Prix, Rob, I'll be a happy camper. This 5-star Grand Prix can't miss. Like, it really can't miss. There's no way. Like, I really don't want to see that Hina versus Natsupoi match. Or why do they put Han and Tomoka Inaba in the same block? That doesn't make sense. There's so much they can do. But that Azumi and Hazuki match, we have not seen in quite some time. These two are really special talents. Excellent stuff there. They do a great job of putting Emma's stuff in the proper places where she's getting the best reaction from the crowd. And you kind of tell, like, once Emma was inserted in this match, we know Emma is eating the pin, but they did a great job building her up in this match, only for FWC to use their teamwork to overcome one Emma, which I absolutely loved. Again, real great falsies towards the end. There was some last second kickouts from Hazuki here that made you think for a half a second that there was a possibility of Hazuki eating the pinfall, which the crowd really bet on. Ultimately, though, it is just the FWC powerbomb neck breaker combination. Hazuki with that top rope senton, putting away one Emma. I love this match. 4.25 stars. Really fantastic stuff here between four just truly special athletes.
Speaking of Future of Stardom Championship, Rana Yagami successfully defending against Kikyo Furusawa. Kikyo Furusawa, man, has been doing such good work lately. Really good. To the point where apparently her eyebrows needed a break because her eyebrows disappeared at Korakuen Hall. Don't know if you noticed. I don't know if she shaved them off or I just couldn't see that. I don't know if she's dyed them blonde, but they just disappeared.
Yeah, it was that's been all over the internet, I think, right after Korakuen Hall. I don't know, maybe to help Maki Ito out. Like, hey, it's like, hey, you're going through a tough time. I'll shave my eyebrows.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you want my eyebrows?
Yeah. Hey, real quick, do you know the 123 Kid eyebrow story for his Hasbro action figure?
No.
Okay, so you know the Hasbro action figures, right?
I do.
If you look at the picture of the 123 Kid on it, he doesn't have any eyebrows. The night before, he got drunk and Kurt Hennig shaved his eyebrows off, knowing he was going for the photo shoot because he was bragging. I'm finally getting my first figure. So they all went out, they got drunk, and then Kid passed out. And then Kurt Hennig's like, here you go, Hasbro action. So if you go Google it. If you just type in 123 Kid action figure, the picture, you're Googling right now. He has no eyebrows. He has no eyebrows. That's because of Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig. So as you're looking that up,
if my internet breaks because I'm Googling 123 Kids
Hasbro action figure, this match was great because you had Kikyo was like eating the kicks from Rana. She knew she had to eat a couple of the kicks, Rob, to grab the foot and go to the ankle lock. So I know this was your jam of a match. Kikyo did a great job working over the ankle and foot of Rana Yagami, and then Rana was working over the shoulder and the arm of Kikyo. Your type of match, Rob, I know you like a really good limb match. Simple story, but yet it had great fire because you had Rana with the forearms and the kicks, and Kikyo really a more violent side of her we saw in this match. She was throwing the forearms with a little more oomph into it. again, maybe we're throwing Kikyo in the 5-star Grand Prix. Wouldn't say no. She wouldn't win a lot of matches.
Entire roster in the 5-star match.
Wait, well, I'm not going to say no. I might be an island on my own. I'm all for it.
That's another point. Maki Ito's going to have to go in the 5-star as well.
Yeah, because she's a draw. Obviously, she's a massive draw. Oh boy, howdy! I'm excited. Anywho, that's the most wonderful time of the year. That is going to be your internet. You better have super duper double looper internet for that one, buddy, because I know that's you. You put a lot of time into that
15-hour podcast. Our preview for that.
To wear a diaper. Anywho, Ronnie got me getting the win with a Taylock. 3 3/4 stars for me.
What a weird way to end that sentence.
Taylock and diaper.
There you go. 4-way match for #1 contendership of the World of Stardom championship match. This was fantastic. I mean, you wouldn't have expected anything less. Look who's in this match. But Matt, we had the story, obviously the hatred between, well, I say the hatred, sometimes respect between Suzuki and Maika. You've got all the history from a weather tie between Starlight Kid and Natsuko Tora. There was one brilliant moment, which was gift all over the internet, where Starlight Kid hits the splash and then gets immediately hauled into a German suplex from Maika. It was spot after spot after spot after spot. As it should be. It was exciting. And again, we said this on the preview. I absolutely love having #1 contendership matches on pay-per-views. I wish we had more of these on pay-per-views. I think it's a really, really good way of making the titles feel more important. I mean, look who you've got in this match. You know, look at what that red belt scene is. You know, and again, you could argue that Natsuko Tora is a weak spot. She's still a former World of Stardom champion. She's still very, very, very good when she's given the nod. When she is basically given a singles match and said, right, go for it, without hate interference, without hate shenanigans, Natsuko Tora is a bloody good wrestler. So this was everything I wanted it to be, because you've got 3 power wrestlers and Starlight Kid offering the speed. But then again, like Suzuki is deceptively quick. Maika is deceptively quick as well. So again, this was a smorgasbord of everything I love about Stardom. I thought this was a really, really, really entertaining match.
My favorite match of the show, considering, again, everything. There was so much great. This is my favorite match of the show. And I mentioned at the beginning of this episode that there's so much great wrestling this weekend with the AEW Double or Nothing. Tokyo Joshi Pro had a great show. Marigold, phenomenal show. Starlight Kid was the best wrestler I saw this entire weekend. It was half. I mean, she's a great wrestler, but she seemed like she was a bat out of hell. Halfway through this match, I'm like, she's winning, because like she's wrestling with little more stakes. It's just like here to show. And then when Starlight Kid, she teased the moonsault, didn't get it. I'm like, gosh, she's gonna hit it and win it. She hits it, and then you see, I believe it was Tora break. No, Tora took the moonsault. It was Suzu breaks up the pinfall. You didn't even see her until the very last second, which I thought was great. It just seemed like Starlight Kid was there to show, like, I am one of the best wrestlers on the planet. And again, as great as all the other wrestling shows we talked about this weekend were, and they were terrific, as great as this show was, Starlight Kid to me was the wrestler of the weekend. I mean, she really seemed like this. She's a special, special talent. You're absolutely right. So this match starts off at a four-way forearm fest, and then it goes out into the crowd, because of course it does. And then we get the pairing off here with Tora and Starlight Kid, which means Starlight Kid is eating all the chairs. And then Suzu and Maika pick up right where they left off. They start forearming each other back and forth. I mean, and then they go into the ring, and it's just like beat after beat after beat. We got one move. We get a tag move. We get Starlight Kid that does that head scissors, headlock takeover combination. And I swear, only her and Miyamoto, the only ones that know how to do it properly and know where to put it. Special talent here. Again, we go back to the Suzu and Maika stuff. We get some teases of certain things that, you know, just great back and forth. Everybody had, like, Suzu had spots with Kid had spots with Maika had spots with Tora and Starlight Kid had these great back and forth near falsies that you thought, like, maybe Tora was going to win, maybe Starlight Kid's going to win. Starlight Kid finally hits the Black Tiger pile driver, top rope moonsault. That gets broken up the last minute. We do have Maika hits a superplex to Suzu, and then Natsuko Tora comes off the top rope and hits the swanton. I thought that was the finish. Just really great stuff. We get the Tower of Doom spot. We get the tequila shot. It's right. It's beat after beat after beat. But it wasn't like it was so fast that you couldn't, you know, it's the old saying. It's like when you see something, like if me and you were watching a match together in the crowd, something happens. I'm like, oh my God, Rob, how about that? And then you turn back. I'm like, I missed 4 spots. It was boom, time to breathe, another spot. Boom, time to breathe. It wasn't too spaced out, yet it wasn't too fast. It was perfect timing. It was perfect pacing. Everything was just really fantastic. Eventually, we have Suzu with a locomotion German onto Micah. Micah kicks out at 2, but Suzu be damned. She holds onto that waist lock and then crashes Micah neck first onto the mat there. Very safe though, with a third German suplex. I like how Micah kicked out, and I was like, oh, maybe Micah's gonna win. And Suzu's like, you're going for a ride. The whole time, obviously, Kid and tore her down from the previous damage. Suzu getting the win. 13 minutes of just nonstop great action. Everybody looked great. Everybody got their spots. Again, to me, Starlight Kid just really seemed like she was wrestling with a little more chip on her shoulder here. 4.25 stars, my favorite match from this show, my friend.
We move on to the semi-main event then. And again, I know that there are people out there who do not like Bea Priestley and the work that she does in Stardom, which again, it's an opinion. You are more than entitled to your opinion. I disagree with that opinion, and I think this match was a real showcase for what Bea can do, because I thought her and Hanan were brilliant in this match. I think Bea Priestley's torture of Hanan at the start was fantastic, really destroying that arm. I thought Hanan's underdog babyface performance was really, really good. I would have liked to have seen Hanan sort of sell the arm a little bit later on in the match. But again, I thought this was a really, really good partnership for this match. I think they worked well together. Really surprised they had Hanan kick out of the Queen's Landing. But aside from that, I thought it was great. They had some really good near falls at the end. And again, just really, really good. Hope you're ready, Mertman. Chemistry in that ring. And again, you know, I think Bea Priestley has put on some really good matches since her return from Stardom. And yeah, I think she's great. I thoroughly enjoy having her on the roster. And actually, you look at her presentation, she looked immaculate in that gear. The makeup was on point. I know that she seemed like she was having a really good time in Stars, and I'm sure she was, despite her claims that she was, you know, infiltrating and, you know, blah, blah, blah. In real life, she was having the absolute time of her life. She's so much better as a heel. So much better as a heel. She works better as a heel. Her character lends itself to being a heel. She wrestles better as a heel. And I think that was accented here by having her wrestle possibly the most white meat babyface on the entire roster in Hanan. And I've said that she's definitely going to be with Hate next year. Next week, yeah, absolutely. Member number 97. But a great performance from both women. Really enjoyed this match. And again, you know, similar to the match we're going to be talking about next, this actually surpassed my expectations.
This was classic heel versus classic babyface, and it was built up that way from the turn at the in Yokohama at Queendom to all these matches leading up. Like, you knew what you were going to get, and what it should have been is exactly what it was. Hanan, Bea Priestley jumping Hanan, Bea Priestley, even though Hanan is the Wonder of Stardom champion, Bea Priestley, former World of Stardom champion, she has the experience. She's more vicious. You know, she's bending and breaking the rules to get the advantage on Hanan, working over the arm. You're right, Rob. The one little nitpick, like maybe towards the end, maybe with Hanan going for the Hanan special or that wrist clutch backdrop, like she goes to get it, like goes the arm, and then B hits her.
The fact that she hit her with the wrist clutch one, it was like the perfect moment to do it. But again, it's not a massive complaint, but you know, for someone as you mentioned earlier, man, like I'm a limb guy. I love a limb match. Like, again, I cannot believe I am making this comparison, but I'm watching the Kobashi versus Misawa match from 97, January 20th, 1997. I think it's the first of their trilogy. And Kobashi is brutalizing Misawa's arm, and Misawa's selling is absolutely magnificent throughout. It is immaculate. And obviously, I'm not expecting every match to be of the quality of Misawa and Kobashi. Obviously, you know, feel slightly silly having made the comparison, but that, you know, that's why I love a limb match. It adds something, and they started doing it really well in the opening exchanges of this match. Probably the first 10, 11 minutes of this match, really, really good. It was just a shame that there wasn't really a payoff, because you can still have Hanan selling it if Hanan is going to win the match.
Yeah, like if she was gonna go for it again, like say she didn't get it, and then like she goes for the wrist clutch, and then she can't get it because of the arm. B hits her with like a boot, and then the plan B 1-2. Then something happens. Hanan maybe hits something big, and then she goes for the wrist clutch again. And she's like slacking it, like to kind of like get it going. Like the arm be damned because the belt is that much more important. Again, I thought it was a really great match. I think they could have gotten a little more out of it if they just kind of did that. So I agree with you there, partner. Again, really terrific stuff. The crowd was behind Hanan. They were booing B, exactly what you wanted. Great false. I mean, B literally threw everything on Hanan.
Absolutely everything.
When she hit the Queen's Landing, and I was like, for a split second, I was like, they're going to change the belt. And then after the one count, Hanan turned and stared right at the referee. And I was like, oh, no.
There was no subtlety to that at all, was there?
Just watch like any Chris Jericho match. She's like the best ever at like not looking at the ref and kicking out the last second and getting the most out of it. But then she hits the plan B, and I was like, is that going to be it? Like they really got me with the falsies here. And eventually, though, Hanan's able to overcome B and hits the Hanan special, and then the wrist clutch backdrop driver for the 3 count. 4.25 stars. Rob, before we move on to the next match, we mentioned at the last show, Hanan, her font, very much like Hulk Hogan. She came out in the red and yellow, brother. More red than yellow. What do you think of the new gear? I thought she looked great because forever she's always been white, gold, and mostly yellow, but this was mostly red. What do you think about the new gear and the new color scheme of Are You Ready? Yeah, Hanan.
Hanan. Oh God, I missed that theme. And ironically, I do really like the gear. I think it was a very nice change up. I just think it's ironic that she's now won the white belt where her white and yellow gear would suit the white belt, and she doesn't wear it anymore. But yeah, again, it's almost like the Mayu Iwatani thing. Has specific championship gear. I wonder if that's a parallel she's attempting to draw. Again, I really liked it. It did make me laugh when B pulled the Eddie Guerrero spot, and Hanan was holding onto the belt for ages and was just like, I don't know what to do with this. Bob Sasaki turns around and she's just like, and there's no way. There's just no way that Bob is looking at Hannah and going, yeah, she definitely hit B with the belt. Definitely. She's the troublemaker. Her. Babyface Hanan is the problem, not B. Priestley, who's recently turned heel. It's Hanan that's the problem.
And all the problems she caused back years ago as well. No, it's
exactly.
You, Hanan. They've never done that in Stardom. I don't think they've ever done the Eddie Guerrero spot, which was cool because a title can change hands on count out and disqualification. So that was another fault. Again, this was genius. It really was. Didn't see that coming. So awesome. Again, great stuff here from. I love B. Priestley. Again, you mentioned before a minute ago, partner. Some people don't like. I don't get it. You're entitled to your own opinion. I thought she had a great run as red belt champion. I think she's a really special,
an underrated run, I think, as red belt champion. Yeah, the problem was with B as well. The title change sort of came out of nowhere, but she was following Kagetsu, who was fantastic. She was followed by Mayu, who was fantastic. And unfortunately, I think there are people, and it's what we do as humans. We focus on things that go wrong, and there was that spot in the Mayu match where
the Rana.
Got the Rana. I didn't know if you'd, of course, yeah, you did the rundown of Mayu's red belt on the Patreon, but
and B as well.
And B as well. There you go. So you've actually seen that match multiple times. Forgot who I was talking to. That Rana spot, man, is grotesque. It happens. It's pro wrestling. It happens. But I think there's people that focus on that spot rather than the match as a whole, which is a very, very, very good match. And I think she's rather unfairly compared to the likes of Kagetsu, as a red belt champion and things like that, when her run was really not bad at all. And I think since she's been back, she's had good matches. She had good matches in the 5-star. Her match against Sayaka Kurara, was it Sayaka Kurara's best title defense? No. Was it a good title defense? Yes. Excellent. I thought it was yeah, absolutely. It was B's best singles match coming back. And then again, I think she worked really well with Hanan here. Again, I've pointed out there were bits, that I would have liked to have seen, but it certainly didn't impact massively my enjoyment of the match. So yeah, I like that B is back in Stardom. I like that B is enjoying herself in Stardom, and more importantly, I'm glad that B is a heel, because again, I think she works better as a heel. That's not the right graphic. Why was that there?
We're moving along, folks. We're moving along.
Never happened. Moving on to the main event, which is, of course, Sayaka Kurara versus Maki Ito for the World of Stardom Championship. I thought that the video package leading into this match was fantastic, with Maki Ito calling out all of the evil stuff that Sayaka Kurara has done. The bit with the Saki Kashima match still makes me laugh now, where Sayaka Kurara was acting as translator for Saki Kashima and Bozilla wanted a match with her. And Saki was like, what's going on? And Sayaka Kurara was like, yeah, you should definitely do it. Yeah, just say yes. So Saki says yes and accidentally accepts this match with Bozilla. So that was brilliant. You had the bit where she was giving out names as to who was going to open a tag match with Koguma and end up doing the bear, and she ended up scamming someone. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Yuna. And Maki Ito's bringing all these up as her being an evil person, and Cosmic Angels are the most evil faction because of Natsupoi. So it was a funny story going in. Maki Ito comes out singing Brooklyn the Hole, and the entire place was alert. They loved Maki Ito. It was an enjoyable experience. She has that aura. Now, we talked about, and again, sort of the crowning of Sayaka Kurara has thrown this out of the window somewhat, but I still don't see Maki Ito as a red belt champion. She's got the aura. She's got the star quality. She's good in the ring. I don't think she's certainly not elite level, but she's good in the ring. And I think actually she's done some of the best work in matches in Stardom. I think she did well with what she was given in terms of time with Natsupoi. I think that match was great. But again, you working with Natsupoi, he was tremendous. She had a great match with Aya Sakura over the Kawaii of Kawaii Championship. And I think this match was really good as well. But again, it just goes to show what level, what pedestal I'm putting the World of Stardom Championship on. When she comes out, crowd are behind her. She looks fantastic. She's doing this Brooklyn the Hole song, which is obscenely catchy. Like, yes. I'm not joking. It ruins my day because it gets stuck in my head, and all I am singing then for the rest of the day is, whoa. And because I don't speak Japanese, I don't know any of the sodding words. So I'm just making random garbled nonsense up until I get to the other, whoa. It honestly, so obscenely catchy. I'm kind of glad she lost now. But as I was sort of getting round to, it goes to show the pedestal I put the red belt on, that Maki Ito's got all of this going for her, and I still don't think she's quite at the red belt level. Where do you see sort of the threshold for Maki Ito? Because again, I think Stardom have done tremendously with her. I think as a challenger to the red belt, perfect. That's fine. That's great. You know, a challenger that will give you a good match, will give you some great moments, but I don't think is ever seriously in contendership for that red belt. Do you think she wins a singles title in Stardom? Do you think she's capable, or do you think she's on the level of capturing a Wonder of Stardom championship?
Not yet, Rob, but can she get there? 100%. I mean, you look at the example to go to is Mai Sakurai. 5-6 years ago, I think Mai Sakurai is probably going to win the Marigold Red Belt Championship probably within the next year or so, and has absolutely earned it. So, pardon me, she has a gimmick that's over. She connects with the crowd. I know she did some interviews when she first came over from Tokyo Joshi Pro to Stardom, and she was like, she's over in Tokyo Joshi Pro and has been over in everything that she's done because of her character-based work, where she's like, Stardom is, I'm going to have to work more. I'm absolutely going to have to work more. And we've seen that. Like, and again, she's a great worker. I mean, you go back and watch any of her stuff where her with Miyu Yamashita has won 2 million, especially against the teams like Daydream and Daisy Monkey and the Magical Sugar Rabbits. Really great stuff. Maki Ito is a really great wrestler, but she's mostly known for her character work. Yeah. And she stands out. She stands out because obviously we don't have Mel Tier anymore. So now she's probably the best singer in Stardom right now. Now, once we get the Tam return, another story for another day. I don't want to melt your internet, but I can see her as red belt champion. Rob, maybe not just yet, maybe the white belt, maybe a year and a half from now. I mean, who knows? She's working. She's a very great wrestler that's very capable of having really good matches. And again, we've already seen the ring with the Sorianos and the Natsupois, and now we're going to see her with the Utamis, and we're going to see some stuff with Saya Kamatani. So you're going to be seeing that. Again, she connects with the audience. The audience loves her. And if you don't believe me, they literally were cheering her over the champion in the champion's hometown. So it's like, they absolutely love Maki Ito. And this was a great V1. I think this was a great way to start Sayaka Kurara's reign. A really fun match, a really great back and forth stuff. Towards the end, though, it is all just about Sayaka Kurara just spamming her big moves. The multiple violent shootings. She hits a violent screwdriver that, wow, I mean, she plants Maki Ito there.
That was
really
pretty well done. It was really well done.
Yeah, very well done. Maki Ito with a great post. Again, she's a great challenger. Again, I could love to see Maki Ito versus Hanan sometime for the Wonder Belt. Maki Ito versus Shuri. I think she's that wrestler that, again, to quote Hacksaw Jim Duggan, not everybody can be world champion. Not everybody can be the lead singer of the band. But if you can play drums for the Beatles, still not a bad gig, buddy. Still not a bad gig. And I think Maki Ito, at least at this point in her career, I can see her maybe the next challenger for Han. I could see her maybe getting some wins in the 5-star Grand Prix, maybe like rolling up Shuri, then post 5-star wrestling Shuri for the IWGP. Her and Utami having somewhat of a program in between the 40,000 things we've already fantasy booked for Utami Hayashishita between now and 2050. But there's a lot they can do. Again, bottom line is she connects with the audience, and that's what you want. You can be the best wrestler in the world, but if you don't have that audience connection, they're not going to come back to see you wrestle. And she has that connection. She's over. She's got her theme song stuck in your head, Rob. So she's
all the time.
Yeah, all the time. She's a great wrestler. She uses the stunner. So I mean, the stunner's over. And I like when we'll talk about it when we talk about the Korakuen Hall show. Now we're getting levels now to her character, because she loses, and now it's like, where do we go from here? I don't know. I'm intrigued. Again, I thought this was great. The Ito special, working on the knee, Sayaka Kurara selling. Ultimately, though, is Sayaka Kurara with the violent screwdriver and the big spear, getting the win. 4.25 stars. This was great because you basically take two wrestlers that are kind of the upper mid card, put them in the main event of the show, have a great match. The crowd's into it. They sold out the building. So again, considering the fact of all the fantastic wrestlers you have in this company, this was your main event, and it delivered, and it was great, and you sent the people home happy, and you made money. Good problem to have for Stardom, Rob. Really a good problem to have. Again, 4.25 stars. Just a really solid V1 for one Sayaka Kurara. And again, this goes to show if they want to put Maki Ito in a title match in a Korakuen Hall show, whether it's for the red, the white, or the IWGP, they probably do 1,500 because she's a star. She's a star. There's no denying it.
It does go to show as well the uncertainty that we've got as with Sayaka Kurara in terms of the championship. And again, I don't want this to sound like we are bagging on Sayaka Kurara. We're not. She's a good wrestler, and I enjoy her work. It's just the fact that she's carrying the top championship in the company, and is it too soon? That's our concern. But we've said all of this is worth pointing out that they've sold out the building with her on top. So, again, I'm sure that there'll be some that argue, look at everyone else on the card. Okay, but she is still in the main event. Again, she's got that first title defense now. We've talked ad nauseum about her at the start of the show, so I'm not going to go into it again simply because my Wi-Fi will probably die. But it'll be interesting as we head into. I'm not going to shout it anymore because Kirsty is in bed, and if she wakes up to me screaming the conversion, she might leave me. But if in the build, it's going to be interesting to see what the build up to the conversion does for Sayaka Kurara, and if we come out of that match with Suzu, should she retain, and if we are having that same conversation, or if we say, right, this was the moment that I saw the vision for Sayaka Kurara, this is where we saw. And I hope it is. I genuinely hope it is. Which is why I'm torn on it being a transitional defense, because I don't want it to look back in a year, 18 months, and people go, why did they do that? Because it's not fair. Anyway, moving on, let's talk about Korakuen Hall, which happened on the 26th of May. What we're going to do for this show is I'll give you the quick results. Matt is going to give his exceedingly sensual star ratings, and then we're just going to pick 2 or 3 matches to talk about. Yes, don't worry, one of them is going to be the main event, because we've got to talk about main event Fukigen Death. But again, it's just going to be the first couple of matches simply for time's sake, because we're nearly 2.5 hours into the podcast, and because I'm not entirely sure that my Wi-Fi is going to hold up. But yes, this show was from Korakuen. It was a night show. The announced attendance 1,083 people. It's a 20.13% decrease on the company's previous Korakuen Hall attendance, which was 1,356 on the 17th of May. And it's also a 17.45% decrease on their last night show, 1,312 on April 17th, though that was the go-home show for All-Star Grand Queendom. Couple of points just to point out about injuries. Prior to the show, obviously we knew that Meisera and Ankanai were out. Momo Kogo was also confirmed to be missing. She's going to miss an unspecified amount of time going forward. She recovers from poor health, which was announced on Stardom's social media. Also prior to the show, Stardom announced that the full show, as a thank you for Queen's Dynasty, would stream for free on YouTube. So this show is currently free on YouTube for you to consume. Obviously, the main event of this show, Artist of Stardom Championships on the line. We need to put some respect on Hate, 35th champions. 258 days puts them as the third longest reigning Artist of Stardom champions of all time, and also puts them joint fourth for total defenses on 4. If they were to win here, it would put them into third.
I want to say really smart for them to put it on YouTube, since they had a title change and a certain somebody that came back. Very well thought out.
Wonder how much that had to do with it. So tag team opener Mavida Loca, Suzu Suzuki and Akira Kuragane defeated the Cosmic Angels of Natsuki and Sayaka Kurara. Suzu Suzuki pinning the red belt champion Sayaka Kurara with the German suplex in 10 minutes and 52 seconds.
4 stars.
Tag team match. Waka Tsukiyama and Rian did coexist, and they coexisted to defeat the Ito Respect Army, Maki Ito and Kikyo Furusawa. Waka pinning Maki Ito with the Osui suplex in 9 minutes and 17 seconds. Just before I throw to Matt for his star rating, I imagine this is a match we probably won't talk about. I just want to say, if they are going all in on this Maki Ito losing her mind because she lost the red belt, I love that storyline. So obviously she came out here, the smeared makeup, like she'd been crying, and then she disappeared after this show. Kikyo Furusawa can't find her. Waka Tsukiyama pinned her. It's a great storyline. I love what they're doing with it, Matt.
3.5 stars. Yes, Kikyo Furusawa tried to cheer Maki Ito up. A lot of people are like, oh, Maki Ito wasn't lip singing right. And I'm like, what do you mean lip singing? That's obviously live, right?
Obviously,
like,
absolutely.
Clearly. But like how Kikyo was like, no, we're going to sing. And then Kikyo was so heartbroken that she got the Kurt Hennig eyebrow shaped afterwards. So
Kikyo Furusawa and a marvelous disappearing eyebrows. 4-way tag match next. The Cosmic Angels team of Ai Sakura, Yuna Mizumori defeated Mivida Loca, Itsuki Aoki and Rini Yamashita, Azumi and Koguma, which is a team we don't see very often, and the God's Eye team of Shiori and Kyoko Kitatsu, with Ai Sakura getting the pinfall over Kyoko with this Sakura latch in 5 minutes and 54 seconds.
3 3/4 stars.
Tag team action, God's Eye, Rani Yagami and Tomoka Inaba. They defeated the team of Starlight Kid and Ema Maishima. Tomoka Inaba pinning Emma with the Tomoka Whirlwind kick in 13 minutes and 10 seconds.
Oh, did you miss the Saida tag match? That was 4.
I did miss the Sayuri tag match, Matt, and that's because I've decided I'm not going to put it in my notes, and I don't know why, brother. So yes.
I got you. Xena getting the win over Matoy with a 2-step German suplex, 3.5 stars.
Thank you, my man. That's why we make such a good team. 10-woman tag match in your semi-main. The Hate team of Saya Kamatani, Natsuko Tora, Ruaka, Azusa, Inaba, and B. Priestley defeated Hazuki, Soriano, Fuwa-chan, Maika, and Hanako. Saya Kamatani again pinning Fuwa-chan with the Star Crusher in 9 minutes and 46 seconds. And then in your main event, Artist of Stardom Championships match, God's Eye, Amisori, Lady C, and Hina defeated Hate, Konami, Rina, and Fukigen Death. Lady C getting the pinfall over Rina with a big boot in 22 minutes and 58 seconds to become the 36th Artist of Stardom champions. Now, Matt Turner, what match would you like to talk about first?
Real quick, since Rob ruined my gimmick here. So the tag match with Emma and Starlight Kid versus Smoking and Butt and Rana was
God,
3 and 3/4 stars. I know we're on a time crunch here, but it's okay. And the 10-person tag with the Utami return was 3 and 3/4 stars. Obviously, we'll end on the main event. Let's just do the first match and the last match. Let's talk about the opener and we'll do the last match. So yes, we'll do Poi and Sayaka Kurara versus Suzu Suzuki and Akira. Suzu and Natsupoi, we've seen them in the 5-star a few years ago. Great chemistry. But this was all about Suzu and Sayaka Kurara. We talked about it at the beginning of the show. We know they're going to have a great match. And if this opener is anything to go by, they're going to tear down the house. So I'm really looking. And again, I still don't know which way it's going to go. I think that's the one thing with having Sayaka as champion. It's not like you knew Kamatani was going to retain, but the matches were still excellent. Again, this was a great way to really get Suzu. We're putting more steam behind Suzu Suzuki, which I'm all for. Natsupoi was terrific. Her and Akira had some really great chemistry as well. Akira really upping her value here. And again, a lot of eyes are going to be on Akira on Saturday because of that match with Utami coming up. I thought this was really a fantastic match, a great way to start the show. Free on YouTube. Crowd was ready to rock and roll, and seeing Sayaka Kurara eat the L on the new #1 contender from Suzu Suzuki. Again, my second favorite match from this show. As I said before, buddy, 4 stars.
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed this. And again, it does, there are options. It's certainly not the dead cert that I think we all assumed the Queen's Dynasty show was, where we all thought Maki Ito's not winning the red belt. I don't think there was anyone that really realistically thought she could win that. There is a lot more doubt, I think, in Suzu potentially dethroning Sayaka. Do I think it will happen? No. Am I 100% sure? No, certainly not. Am I even 90% sure? No, not really. I'd say I'm probably 60-40 that Sayaka Kurara retains. But again, we'll see how these preview tags go along as we head into June 20th. Matt, obviously the biggest story coming out of this show, aside, of course, from the return of Utami Hayashishita, was late. The way, in case you were wondering, making her the most tenured wrestler on the current roster to never win a championship, which was madness. Doing the research for that and going, how has she never won a title? Going through the rest of the roster, going, all these other people have won titles. Lady C has never won one. And not only did she win one on this show, she was the person who secured the pinfall. And you know what? You could see the moment that 3 count happened, the moment she planted Rena, who took that big boot fantastically, by the way, just the emotion, what it meant to her. And you know what? I know we don't say deserve very often on this podcast. 5.5 years, 540 plus matches for the company to never win a title. Bloody hell, does she deserve this? I am so happy for her. It was such a catharsis at the end of the show to finally have her capture a belt. And yes, arguably, it's the Artist of Stardom Championship. It's the lowest stake championship on the main card, aside from the New Blood tag titles. But who cares? Lady C deserves some recognition, not only for her tenure with the company, but for what she does. She's very rarely injured. Touch wood. God almighty, touch wood. She's always great. Whenever she's given the nod, she will do whatever she needs to do. She's eaten a boatload of losses to everybody under the sun. Do you know what? Even if this is a 6-week reign as a thank you, Lady C, I don't care. She bloody deserves it. And this was a great match, by the way.
what a great feel-good ending to this show with the
Yeah.
return of Utami, and then you have this phenomenal match and capping it off with Lady C getting the big win. I mean, just everybody going home with, that fuzzy feeling you get in your stomach, Rob. That's not after you drink a lot of tequila and have some burritos. No, but anywho,
Yeah.
this was great. You mentioned maybe the lowest tier belt. Some of the best matches in Joshi over the last few years have been for this. You look at the first All Star Grand Queendom with Restart versus Prominence. You look at the Work Rate Angels versus Neo Genesis. You look at the Work Rate Angels versus the second tier of the Cosmic Angels. There's this run from Hate been fantastic. My Himipoi, the original Cosmic Angels. There's been some, any exception of Queen's Quest. There's been some great matches for these belts. Yes, are the other belts higher tier? Yes, that's only because the quality has been next level. Again, we were spoiled from this company that this is like the 5th tier belt from this company, and it's still some of the best matches you'll see in all of wrestling that month. This was great, Rob. I'll tell you right now, 4 3/4 stars. I had it at 4.5, but I bumped it up because of the crowd reaction. I always give extra credit because of the crowd reaction. The way that they drawn out that finish. You've been watching a lot of All Japan in the 90s. That's what this felt like. This is the finish. No, and they drew it out. And sometimes if you draw it out too long, the crowd's like, all right, now I'm exhausted. And then you lose it, but it just kept going and building and building and building, and a lot of that credit has to go to Rena. I think the way she builds her finishes, and we've seen
great,
it in singles matches, tag matches, and in this artist run, that's an art in itself. You can do all the moves, you can do all the, the crowd psychology and do all the promos, but building towards these long main event finishes in a legendary building like Korakuen Hall, Rena's just fantastic. And again, Rena, Hina, we're thinking they may be in the same block because they are in Atsunamayu. They're in the same block, Rob. Oh, that's a match like night one. Or if it is in the light cube, if that matches, Rena and Hina, really something special. Lady C was clearly the focal point here. She started the match. She took the heat. There were so many falsies towards the end. The choke slam, her and Ami Soria as a team. They did the 3D with Ami, Lady C, and Hina. Excellent stuff there. Lady C ate that $13.99 from Konami. Like properly was like, all right, I know I'm getting the belt. Make me earn it here. I mean, Konami properly like waylaid Lady C into that. It's almost like Konami's like, I remember when Arisa Hoshinki threw this at me 7 years ago in the same building, and that's what I'm going to do to you. There's just so many great falsies towards the end to build and build and build. We get the Doomsday Bulldog onto Lady C, then the Hydrangea Bomb for a 2.9 count, and then the Pink Devil. Like, not only did Lady C get the win, she ate so much stuff here towards the end. Some stuff she kicked out, some stuff she had to have Ami break up, some stuff she had to have Hina break up, which goes to show just the tag team chemistry here with God's Eye. We get the 3D to Rena and then Lady C with the choke slam, and I thought that was the finish. Rena kicking out a 2.999, Lady C hitting the huge boot. That's the 2.99 there. And then we get the ref bump, and then the crowd is like, we've seen this so many times between BMI 2000 and this trio for the artist belts. Just when we think we were going to get new champions, the ref gets bumped. We get all this interference, and then you just hear the air out of the building go like, oh. And then we have Hina. It makes the save with the Hina hammer to Fuking in death. Ami Story hits the brain buster on the Konami. And then now we're like, oh, wait a minute. We just saw the illegal members taken out by the other members of God's Eye. Maybe we have a shot here. And they built up Lady C with that running boot 3 times. And then when she finally hits it, that's the finish. It hits the crescendo. They teased. You're like, this is the highest point. No, it's not. Now it goes down. No, this is the highest point. Like, they should have ended it there. No, it's this. And then we get the interference. And then the crowd's like, oh. And then we have Ami and Hina hitting their big moves on the other members of Hate. And like, oh, wait a minute. And now you see Lady C lining up the boot and waiting. And then she does the point and waiting, and they wait, and it's just like you're on a roller coaster, and it's just like, when you're going on a roller coaster, it's like tick 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 tick, and you know it's gonna happen, then boom, you get it. 1, 2, 3, genius match, one of the best matches for this artist belts I've seen in quite some time, which is saying something because these belts are been defended phenomenally. I love this as a main event in Korakuen Hall because it's not overshadowed by a red belt or a white belt. It's like you get all of it, and it got time, almost 23 minutes. Again, this was genius 4 3/4 stars. Congratulations to Hina, Amisori, and of course, yes, Lady C. Richly earned, deserved, whatever you want to say. I'm excited for this run. I don't think it's going to be a 6-day run, Rob, but regardless, they'll always have this match. And again, the biggest congratulations to Lady C, which again, I will say that Utami Hayashisa on the way out touched Lady C's boots, and that might be one of the reasons why she won. In all seriousness, congratulations to this trio. Obviously, we're praising Lady C, and rightfully so, but Amisori and Hina were phenomenal as well as our former champions. Fukin Death was terrific. Kunami was great, and Rina was just as good as anybody else on this show. A truly special talent one Rina is. And again, Rina versus Utami, Rob. It's a completely different Rina. Completely different Rina. So much to go by. Again, a great show. End it with a match of the year candidate. Great stuff.
I mean, the one complaint I have about Hate's run with the artist belts, it's not really on them, obviously, is that they were never really defended. You know, there was so long between title defenses, and I think a lot of that was because Konami was white belt champion. So hopefully with the God's Eye run, we get back to at least semi-regular defenses. And again, you know, you have got a deep enough roster now.
Sure.
That you could quite easily do this as, you know, every other Korakuen have an Artist of Stardom Championship defense. You know, alternate it with the Future, alternate it with the high speed title. You've got more than enough people on this roster. And even if, you know, you have Cosmic Angels do one month. Okay, well, you've got 5 members of Cosmic Angels. Do a different iteration. You know, you've got more than enough people to do that. So that's my one hope. That obviously Lady C, Amisori, Hina, none of them are holding all the championships at the moment. So fingers crossed it means that we can actually get some title defenses, because again, Lady C, I imagine, will be defending this thing with a goddamn life. So yeah, looking forward to that. But Matt Turner, moving on, of course, we have got your favorite thing in the whole wide world. Before we get on to EO and Kairi Watch, of course, we have got another episode of World of Joshi Tenable. Now, if you haven't already seen Tenable on these episodes, it's basically a top 10 list. I'm going to give Matt a category. There are 10 answers that he must get with 3 lives. Obviously, if he gets an answer wrong, he loses a life. And yeah, it's fairly self-explanatory.
Can we just say strikes? Like live, 3 strikes, you're out. I don't want to die 3 times, Rob. I'm enjoying these 44 years that God's given me on this planet. I got a lot more left to live, buddy. I want to see Spider-Man. I want to see Doomsday. Like, I got a lot. Just say strikes.
I love the fact that the second thing you said was Doomsday. Like, that's the second thing.
I want to see the Avengers, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. But yes, anyway, we'll move on. We'll do lives. I was thinking more Crash Bandicoot, but yeah, of course, we'll change it to strikes. Anyway, Mr. Turner, we are looking today, with it being 5-star Grand Prix season, the most career wins in the 5-star Grand Prix. So I'm talking cumulatively over the 15 years of the 5-star Grand Prix. Who has picked up the most match victories? And that, of course, means finals, semi-finals, quarterfinals, and block matches as well. As per usual, there are 10 answers to get, Matt Turner. After you, good sir.
And can I? No, I'm just kidding. That doesn't count.
Okay.
Strike 1. Mayu Iwatani.
With 79 career victories in the 5-star Grand Prix, Mayu Iwatani is number 1.
Momo Watanabe.
With 76 victories in the 5-star Grand Prix, Momo Watanabe is second.
Tam Nakano. I know she has the most losses, but I think she's up there as well as with wins.
I think she does have the... Oh, no. Oh, I've done this wrong. This is matches, sorry, not career wins. Sorry, this is matches. I knew I'd changed it. But you're absolutely right. Tam Nakano is third. 66 matches, crucially matches. It's because my internet's not been working. I've lost it. So you have got the first 3 though, Matt, which is quite impressive considering I gave you the wrong category.
Okay, so this is most matches in the 5-star.
Most matches in the 5-star. So Mayu's top 79, Momo Watanabe's second 76, Tam Nakano is third 66, and you've used none of your lives yet. Well done.
No, let's go with Shuri.
I was surprised by this. 45. Shuri is 12th.
Whoa. Okay. Maybe because I think she started the 5-star in 2020. Okay. Let's go with Azumi.
With 64 matches in her 5-star Grand Prix career, Azumi is 4th with 64 matches.
Maika?
With 47, Maika is 11th.
Ooh. What about, I'm going to take a shot in the dark here. Saki Kashima? Because now I'm going with tenure here.
You sure you want to go with Saki Kashima?
Oh, see, I already said it. I'm going to commit to it.
Joint 11th with Maika with
Wow.
47 matches in the 5-star Grand Prix. Saki Kashima is obviously joint 11th, so she is not tenable. Now, Matt, obviously, it is the season of good giving. It's not. I'm just going to give you another life. Let's see if you can get the others.
Starlight Kid. I'm going by tenure
here. Starlight Kid with 51. She is 9th.
I'm going to... because she's right around the same time as Maika and Shuri, but she made it to what about Julia?
Julia is one below Shuri, so she's only had 38 matches. She's only been in 4 5-star Grand Prix.
Yeah, see, I'm thinking of tenure here. We definitely have to do this right before the 5-star with wins.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I think I'll do really well. But man, I'm out, so you may as well go through the next 5 there, my man. I started out really hot and then cooled right down, buddy. Cooled like an ice bath. Cooled right down.
It's because I threw the wrench in, didn't I? About actually, it's most matches because I'd filtered the wrong column on my spreadsheet. But never mind. So in 5th with 54, she's just returned to the company. It's Utami Hayashishita.
How did I not say that? She was, she went to the finals in 28. I was literally thinking she'd be in the top 5 with wins, and then, that's my own fault. What a dummy I am.
Just below her, with the same amount of matches, Sayaka Kurara.
We literally spent half this podcast on what the two of them, and they're right by each other. I didn't even say it. But look at the difference between Utami and Kamatani and Azumi. That's 10 different.
Yeah, well, obviously, Azumi has been in 6, but has got through to the semi-finals in one of her 5-star Grand Prix. The final in one of her 5-star Grand Prix. Sayaka Kurara got through, but there wasn't as many matches in that tournament, I don't believe. And of course, she didn't wrestle in the 2023 one either because she got injured. 7th, then, is Konami with 52. 7 tournaments for Konami. First tournament in 2017. Number 8, Natsupoi, 51. Wow. Matt, I'll give you one guess for obviously number 10. Who do you think number 10 could be?
I'm going to say Hazuki.
With 49 matches, it is, of course, Hazuki. As your 10th most matches in Stardom 5-star Grand Prix history. Well done, because you did have that rug pulled from underneath of you when I realized I was giving you the wrong category. But there you go. We'll do wins next time and see if you can do better with that one. So stay tuned for that, guys. Moving on then, we have got one more segment, Mr. Turner, and it should be a relatively easy one because I don't think there was any EO watch, with her obviously celebrating her recent marriage to Evil Naruku, I believe. Congratulations to both of them, as we said last week, but I believe there's nothing to say here.
No, with your internet hanging on by a thread, this is not the one where EO wrestled like 84 times. No, there's nothing to watch. EO coming back hopefully soon because we love her. She's great. So no EO and Kairi watch this, or now it's known as EO watch. We'll see where Kairi pops up in the next month or so. But yes, nothing on the EO watch this week, good sir.
I know a company that needs her, especially now.
Ooh, please.
Moving on then, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you so much for bearing with us, because it has not been an easy episode in terms of internet and in terms of breaking up and in terms of editing as well. So we hope that you have enjoyed it. Thank you so much for listening. If you haven't already, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Links are in the description below. You can also find us on Patreon, patreon.com/The World of Joshi, where you can find and listen to us for as little as $1 a month, as well as the whole back catalogue as well for ad-free, and as well as the Predictions League competition as well. Couldn't remember what we called it. You can get access to that as well for $1. You can find us on social media, WOJ Wrestling. You can talk to me on Twitter at RealRobGoodwin. Mr. Turner, please, good sir, sign us off before my Wi-Fi does it for you.
Questions, comments, suggestions, anything you need from me, Matt Turner OF on the Instagram and Twitter is the easiest, fastest, and bestest way to get a hold of me. Or if you guys want to shoot me an email, the email address is matt@worldofjoshi.com, as well as the StardomCast22@gmail.com. Folks, thanks for bearing with us on this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did, because even though we had some hiccups, we had a heck of a time. We greatly appreciate
memories.
We sure did. We greatly appreciate your support. Can't do without you, because like I always say, it's just not my podcast. It's our podcast, because we're all together and everybody's different. Everybody's special.